Well, for those of you here in the paddock today and for those of you tuning in live around the world, welcome back to the final day of action here from Trackhouse Motorplex. As you can see on your screen, sunny skies here after what has been 2 days, really 3 days, where heavy storms have thrown a wrench into everyone's plans at one point or another. My name is Andrew Clemens here in the booth as we are back for the IAME USA Grand National Championship Sunday. Alongside me, Alexander Searle. Caleb Vieska will be joining us down on pit lane with our first 2 days of official action in the books, hot off of a late night last night where Joe Turney absolutely walked the dog with everybody by a 13-second margin of victory in that X30 Pro shootout, Alex.
I mean, one of the most impressive performances I've seen at least this year to date, and Joe Turney just adding to his dominating performance throughout the year, the winningest driver on the pro calendar in the 2023 season so far here, and looking to add more today. I think the biggest story for him is going to be, can he sweep both classes?
There is a $5,000 bonus for any junior or senior that's able to sweep both KA Junior and X30 Junior, or KA Senior and X30 Pro. All of those classes also have money purses as well, with $5,000 for the win in X30 Pro, $4,000 for X30 Junior, and $3,000, I believe, for KA Senior. But don't quote me on that. I'll make sure that I'm corrected here in a moment. We do know for sure $5,000 for the bonus sweep for any junior or senior that can do it, and Joe Turney's got a good shot. Let's take a look here before we go green with our first pre-final of the morning, what the drivers think about this awesome racetrack here at Trackhouse Motorplex.
What would it mean to you to win the shootout this year?
It means $5,000. You know, it's not really about the race win. It's just about the money. I mean, it's a nice little check to take home. It takes a lot of stress off the weekend, but I mean, we're really focused on the main win for the weekend, championship.
Apologies about that. As the field gets set to go green, let's take a look at your starting lineup here for the pre-final. They have lined up in the same order all weekend long up until today. After qualifying on Friday afternoon, that set the grid for 3 heat races. This pre-final is actually, in terms of racing, a little bit more akin to what is known in karting as a super heat. 50% of your starting grid comes from how you fared in all 3 heat races. 50% comes from this pre-final. So while Parker Ives was the best out of all the heat races, if he finishes third here in this pre-final, it would put him at a second place average for the main event, and that could potentially put him away from the pole for the main. So it doesn't necessarily throw your weekend away if you have a bad pre-final, but it also doesn't make up for a bad run in the heats either. You'll notice as well we're back on the normal track layout also, so it is the standard layout that most of the drivers are used to when we come to Mooresville, North Carolina to race at Trackhouse Motorplex. For the starting lineup, well, it is the red and white Ryan Perry Motorsport Nitro Kart with that chrome helmet of Parker Ives that will lead the field to green. Alongside him will be the Team GWR Blue and Red Energy of Colton Schniegenberg. Back on row number 2, our second place front row qualifier, back to row 2 for the pre-final, is the blue and yellow comp kart for Team Timmy Tech of Cade Wolf. To his outside in the number 75, yellow and black and blue, Zanella Racing Bennick will be Gavin Decay. Row 3 will be William Roberts on the blue and yellow Landon Norris kart for Brandon Jarzakak Racing and Mike Doty Racing. To his outside will be the number 851 red and white Beryl Art of Tanner Barsh. He rolls off 6th. 7th will be that black and orange SLA Kart Racing Sodi kart of Maxwell Macha. To his outside fellow Sodi kart for PK Sports North America of Zane Burgess. Rounding your top 10 will be Lawrence Perriman in the number 28 BJR MDRLN kart. To his outside, Daniel Ramirez. Then you go to the final few spots on the grid here in the Microsoft class. Ryder Sutton will start on the inside of Parker Stewart in row number 6. And shotgun on the field for Liam Sutton in the 724 alongside Sterling Mulata in the number 7 Kart Republic. They'll round this final turn. We'll put them on for 16 laps here in this pre-final. The longest any of these drivers have gone, as it was 13 laps for their heat races thus far. They're still on. They're used MG red tires as they've had to run now. This will be heat cycle number 5, one of the longest stints they'll ever put on the national calendar on this rubber. And now we're on the power, and are we going to get the green? No green first time by Parker Ives, and Colton Schniegenberg a little bit too eager to get this one started, Alex.
Yeah, not the first time we've seen this group of young drivers here get to the power a little bit too soon. You know, maybe the nerves getting the better of them here. You know, the first pre-final of the day, really first race of the day for all of these drivers. So Parker Ives eager to get going there. Like you said, Xander, this is really the starting five that we've seen all weekend long, besides Gavin Decay, who just put together a good, solid couple of heat races. He started 7th in every single heat race. He finds himself right now, I believe, starting in that 3rd or that 4th position. So a good run there for the Bennett driver on the Zanella Racing 10th there, but Parker Ives has been the guy to beat so far this weekend.
Yeah, Parker Ives has been super consistent. Already got himself a little bit of a payday on Friday night. He won the Fast 5 shootout for $500 as the fastest 5 drivers from the Microswift class were able to contend for a sweet shootout payday along the likes of the KA Senior and X30 Pro superstars that ran later on in the weekend. And all the classes getting to contend for a Fast 5 shootout. We'll talk about the winners and how they fared as well when their classes come on up as the IAME heavies begin to make their way to the grid. 7 classes are in total on the lineup. We kick things off here with Microswift. IAME heavy rolls up in the 2nd spot. In the 3rd seed on the lineup will be the KA100 Juniors. Then it'll be 2 pre-finals for KA100 Senior in the 4th seed. Pre-final B for the even half of the group after the heats. Pre-final A for the odd half of the group after the heat races. Then they'll be merged back together for the top half to make it into the main event off of points. In the 5th seed will be the Mini Swifts. Then the 6th seed X30 Junior, and the 7th speed to round things off the headline division X30 Pro, going for 5,000 big ones here this afternoon. A nice and slow start as they really have brought them to a crawl here in that final turn. Parker Ives and Colton Schniegenberg have the field nearly stopped. They want to keep that speed slow, but the biggest thing that was the issue from that first start is they were a little bit too eager to get onto the power. So as they come down this front straightaway, here we are in the tram lines looking for attempt number 2. It's a long wait before they're allowed to punch off by those blue cones down by turn number 1. We'll pick them up as they get closer. This time looks a little bit better as the hands go back on the wheel and we get underway on attempt 2. Green flag down to turn number 1 and up over the curbing. I believe that might have been Ryder Sutton in the 715. They got a little bit sideways, but they'll all survive the opening corner. And here they come down the back straightaway for the very first time. It is Parker Ives that leads us into the bowl, and they're side by side for second. Cade Wolf got to P2 off the start. He drops back to 3rd. Colton Schniegenberg moves up into 2nd as they go to the infield for the first time.
Yeah, Schniegenberg reclaiming the 2nd position that he lost in the first corner. A couple of winners and losers there at the start. Maxwell Macha, one of the winners, up to P4 already after starting 8th. Zane Burgess, his teammate. Oh, as Gavin Decay puts the side pod to the side there of William Roberts. He's going to lose a couple spots there in turn 8.
Yeah, sideways for William Roberts there in the number 88 LN card, but he holds on to it, drops back behind his teammate Lawrence Perriman. Up the hill to the final turn. We'll put 1 lap down. 15 laps to go here in this pre-final as another bump and run comes in the last turn. That's Tanner Barsh getting his elbows out. He's going to let Gavin Decay get back in line in front of him as we go down to turn number 1 here for another lap in the books. And look at this already. What a phenomenal start for the number 33 Tampa, Florida native Maxwell Macha. He's latched onto the back bumper of Cade Wolf as they all try to chase down Parker Ives on the back straightaway. Parker's lead already at about a half-second margin back to the rest of the field, exiting turn number 4.
Yeah, Parker Ives, I mean, like we were mentioning earlier, one of the most impressive drivers all weekend long. I mean, to be able to pull away as we see a little bit of a mistake there exiting turn 6, able to keep momentum, though, doesn't lose too much ground to the guys behind him here, but now there's 3 karts working together. They're going to inevitably catch up to Parker Ives here. They've already closed the gap by about a kart length and a half now, so Colton Schniegenberg all over the bumper now of Parker Ives. But to mention Maxwell Macha, I mean, he, maybe starting 7th, it wasn't really true to form of where we expected to see him. He was spun around in the 2nd heat race, so that's kind of why he had to start P7 in the pre-final, but so far so good for the SLA driver.
Well, he had an issue yesterday, talked with his father, Petter, for a little bit, and he said that they had the front gear fail for him in one of the heat races. That's put him down the order, so he's one of the drivers trying to get everything he can out of this pre-final to improve his starting position for that main. 4th and in the lead group right now is a safe spot to be, but you saw in turn 8 the dirt on the tires that Parker Ives picked up by dropping a tire out of turn 6 forced him wide as he had less grip than everyone behind him, and that's brought the field back together. So Colton Schniegenberg closes on in. Ives a little bit more conservative this time through the infield, but a good exit will keep him safe into the hairpin as they spread apart by about a car length or so. The top 4 getting away, and again, leader of that next group is Tanner Barsh, about a 2.5 seconds back on the number 51 Beryl Art. Gavin Decay 6th, Perriman 7th, Roberts 8th, Burgess 9th, Sterling Mulata up into 10th here from his starting spot back. Tail end Charlie in 14th. So here comes the field on through that final turn. Down the front stretch goes your leading 4. Into turn number 1. Nobody going to make a move just yet for the lead. And behind them still, single file as well in group number 2 as they climb the hill.
Yeah, like you said, there's really two main groups here in the Microswift class. This top 4 breaking away here. The top 3 have actually stretched a bit of an advantage over Maxwell Macha there, but he's going to close the gap through this bowl corner like expected there with the draft in play as well. But the group behind him, about 5 or 6 go-karts last time by, about 7/10 off of the pace these top 4 are running. So they are stretching their advantage ever so slightly as the laps wind down here with 13 to go. Still a long pre-final event here. Like you said, Xander, this is the 5th heat cycle they're putting on these tires, so they're going to be feeling it here.
Yeah, let's see it into the hairpin. There's a look at your second pack. Not a whole lot of movement in that one at the moment. Lawrence Perriman got around Gavin Decay this time, so now move the number 28 BJR MDRLN card up into the 6th position, second in line as they climb the hill. Coming in out, 12 laps to go. Still no changes up front. Colton Schneegenberg and Cade Wolf are locked and loaded, trying to just hang on to the coattails of Parker Ives. Little mistake from Colton there as he pops the curb in turn 1, and Cade Wolf at some point may need to go because they're not making a whole lot of headway, and it looks like he was nosing low into the bowl, but he didn't have enough momentum on his side. Colton still had the draft off of Parker and was able to hold that spot as they re-enter the infield.
Yeah, Schneegenberg there, the benefit of the draft, I think, saved his P2 position for now here, going down the hill towards turn 8 here. A decent run for Schneegenberg, but not going to be enough right now. Parker Ives, this is where he's been dominant all weekend long. In this infield, he's made it really difficult for the drivers behind him to make any moves into the tight hairpins where it is pretty the main passing opportunity, should I say here. But like I said, with Schneegenberg losing a bit of ground here, exiting double right-handers, we might see a move from Cade Wolf into this final corner. Not going to happen here. Colton Schneegenberg closes the gap under the brakes there, but loses it on the exit. Parker Ives holds station in first right now.
Maxwell Macha even nosing a little bit low that time, down to turn number 1, but didn't go just yet. They stay single file as they climb the hill. For now, though, again, as we watch them down the back straightaway, all bumper to bumper. Macha again nosing low on Wolf, but can't get enough of a run while they're hooked up. And again, Colton Schneegenberg just not fast enough to get to Parker Ives, but he is quick enough to hang in the toe. So we wait behind him as the field exits turn 7, goes to the hairpin here. And Cade Wolf still, he's not in any big rush to go by Colton, and he doesn't have to be. With all those laps on the board, you can still wait a little longer until Parker Ives gets too far away. At 2 car lengths right now, they can still close back up on every straightaway, but he's just got to be very careful when and if he does have to make that move to get around Colton to not lose too much time and hopefully stay within that 7 to 8 of a second drafting window to the race leader. Now he's going to go. Turn 1's a safe spot to do it. He'll get through in that corner, and they lose only about a kart length in that passing exchange. So Cade Wolf now into second, Schneegenberg back to third, Macha fourth as they rocket down the back straightaway.
Yeah, that was a move that had to be done there from the comp car driver, Cade Wolf. I know there's still 10 laps to go here, but it seemed to me at this point in the race he was quicker than Schneegenberg, and Macha feels the same way as Maxwell Macha down the back straightaway made a move on Schneegenberg. So Schneegenberg from second to fourth now in the matter of half a lap, and he could fall back even further because the pace doesn't seem to be there right now for the energy car driver.
They'll head through the infield again here as they exit turn 8. Now it's on Cade Wolf's shoulders to try and hunt down your race leader, Parker Ives. Through turn 9, that gap is holding at about 4 car lengths since the pass, but he's going to get some help here. Maxwell Macha closes up. Big run to Cade Wolf. Let's see if the two of them can make some headway towards the race leader as they lock and load down the front stretch. Macha pushes him all the way down to turn number 1, and now we'll see that gap probably come down and some fast lap times here through the hill and turn number 3 down the backstretch. Watch this closing rate for Cade Wolf and Maxwell Macha as they will close from 4 car lengths down to 2, but Macha wants second. He'll take that in the bowl. So Maxwell Macha now to P2, and again, he's on a different mindset than everybody else. He started 7th. That means he was 7th after the heat races, so he's still got more to go.
Yeah, like you said, with this pre-final as well, it plays like a super heat here. So even if Macha were to win this pre-final, it wouldn't put him first for the final. So like you said, he's just trying to make up every position he can. As a little bobble there out of turn 8 for Cade Wolf. That's going to put him side by side with Schneegenberg now. And all this battling, it's great stuff for us to watch here in the commentator's booth. They're side by side for turn 3 down to the final couple corners. All over the curbing goes Cade Wolf, and Schneegenberg takes that position. But all that battling, they're going to lose a handful of time here to the leaders, and it could be a 2-car breakaway now with about 8.5 to go as they exit turn 1 and climb the hill towards turn 3. Macha looks back, sees the gap that they have, and now Macha with the closing rate that he's been able to show throughout the entire race here, down towards the bowl corner in turn 4. Can Macha make anything happen? Not yet here, but right now it is Parker Ives, your leader, and Maxwell Macha has extended his lead. They have about a second advantage over the drivers in 3rd and 4th here, exiting turn 6 and down the hill towards turn 7 and turn 8. One of the better passing spots we'll see all weekend long, but a good run out of the corner there for Parker Ives. Not going to be enough here for Macha, but like I said, that gap has grown for their leaders there, Xander. Through the double rights now, it is Parker Ives and Maxwell Macha still your leaders here. And I think I saw a side-by-side battle happening further back here for Schneegerberg and Cade Wolf. That's not going to do them any good. They've hooked up now, but still the gap has grown tremendously for your leaders.
Yeah, it's a big gap from second back to third. Lap times that time by, they were decent once they finally got good on the second sector, but they gave up still 0.3 net. The gap is 1.3 seconds from the lead back to Colton Schneegenberg as they head down the backstretch. We'll see if the two can work together any better to hunt down Maxwell Macha and Parker Ives. But with 7 laps to go, that's a lot of time still for Macha to build that gap, and I'm sure he's getting the signal from pit lane to continue to work. As around goes Cade Wolf. He drops a tire out of turn number 6 and spins. Cade Wolf following the back of Colton Schneegenberg, and that wet grass still is tricky to get out of. He'll lose 2 more spots. Here comes Gavin Decay on by, along with Sterling Mulata. More drivers continue to go by the Timmy Tech Comp Kart. This is a disaster for Cade Wolf now, as the 50% weight of the pre-final is going to push him down the grid here in the main.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the one benefit that Cade Wolf has is the fact that it is a 50-50 between the heats and the pre-final. So Cade Wolf not going to lose a whole lot of starting positions for the final, but still, I mean, a very uncharacteristic mistake out of the Timmy Tech Comp Car driver of Cade Wolf, who hasn't put a foot wrong all weekend, really.
Let's go down to pit lane and go side by side here with 6 laps to go. IAME Heavy is ready on the grid, and Caleb Vieska has caught up with a number of our contenders. Caleb?
Thank you, Xander. I'm here. Standing next to me is the man himself, John Bonanno. John, you've been quick all weekend, but as you were mentioning to me earlier that you are your own mechanic this weekend, explain to me how stressful that has been all weekend long.
It's been stressful, and to be honest, I've made more mistakes than I care to admit about. A couple of my friends back home, I've been texting them. It seems like every single time I'm on track, I'm leaving something loose, setting myself up for failure. So we've been hanging in there, running top 5 speed, top 3. But it looks like we finally got it together in the warm-up this morning, and hoping to chase Dusty down.
Sounds good, and obviously, like you were saying, it seems like you got it together in the warm-up this morning. Have you found anything overnight to try to catch right back up to Dusty Davis, who has been in a class of his own all weekend?
Yeah, about 20 bolts that I left loose on the cart. So, no, Dusty's in a class of his own this week. He's really been dominating, hoping to hang in there. So far it's been a fight for second, but we're hoping to hang in there and give him something in the final.
Sounds good. Best of luck, John.
Thank you.
Back to you, Xander.
Thank you, Caleb. We go back to the on-track action here while John Bonanno and the rest of the IAME Heavies continue to get set up. We'll hear from a few more of our drivers if we have time. 5 to go, coming to 4 this time by. Parker Ives has led every lap thus far. Maxwell Macha is there with a good run out of turn 8. He's nice and close as they go up the hill to that final corner, and we'll come down to see 4 laps remaining here at the start-finish line straight away.
Yeah, Maxwell Macha all over the rear bumper of Parker Ives here. Let's see what he can do entering turn 1 with 4 to go this time by.
Let's go back down side by side for a little more from your IAME Heavy class. Caleb, who do you got?
Thank you, Xander. Here with Billy Workman, who's really been one of the only guys who have challenged Dusty Davis. Billy, you were mentioning to me just now that you are a local here in North Carolina, that you've raced here at this track. How are you feeling coming into the full layout today?
Well, I'm excited to get back on this layout, to be honest. So this is my fourth ever go-kart race. I'm a dirt racer by heart, so I'm just doing this to have some fun, push myself to do something new, and go out here and just give it everything I have. So I'm giving it 110%. I think if I can back it down to 105, we'll probably be a little bit better.
Sounds good. And obviously, you just mentioned to me that you're a dirt racer. So does anything from dirt translate over here to really track racing?
Last night was probably the closest thing when we got to go left. That was probably the most fun I've had in a go-kart. That was a blast. So there's a lot. This is a lot of discipline that it takes to do this. And we also own and operate a legend car team. So we work with a lot of kids that come from the go-kart world, such as Keelan Harvick, Kai Johnson, and a few others. That it takes a lot to do this. So I'm glad that I can come out here and see the other side of it that goes into it.
Sounds good. Well, best of luck this weekend, Billy.
Thank you.
Back to you, Xander.
All right, there you hear from Billy Workman, and super cool to see, again, more and more cross-discipline racing at this event, being in the heart of NASCAR and what is slowly becoming a big hotspot for dirt racing as well. We see more and more of that all the time here at Trackhouse Motorplex, so that's so cool to see him here. And again, like he said, it gives a new perspective to how high the level is at the national scene for kart racing, even down in the 7 to 10-year-old age bracket for the micro slivs. Parker Ives and Maxwell Macha are about to show us that right now. 2 laps to go for the field as they climb the hill. Final couple of laps around, and we're going to see a 2-car duel as they head down the back straightaway.
Yeah, down the back straightaway for your leaders, Parker Ives and Maxwell Macha. I mean, what I've noticed, it's kind of been a common trend here is, a late lunge here for Maxwell Macha. He's going to make it stick. So move the SLA Sodi car driver of Maxwell Macha to the point here with 1.5 to go.
Yeah, through the turn 5-6 complex, they'll come on through into the infield here. Maxwell Macha, Parker Ives, single file to the hairpin. Still no change. Ives was not close enough there. Macha takes them on out, and he pulls a car length and a half with a phenomenal exit. Really good bottom end power for Maxwell Macha and a great launch. That'll make him safe to the final turn. He's really going to have to worry about the high speed parts of this racetrack. Turn number 1 and turn number 4. Final lap in the air, white flag, 1 to go. Maxwell Macha leads the pre-final.
Yeah, this is the first lap that Parker Ives has actually had a go-kart in front of him. So let's see what we can do here, entering the first corner and up the hill. Like you said, Xander, Maxwell Macha has escaped the first real big high-speed part of the racetrack, but now down the hill towards the banked bowl corner where he made the move last lap here. Does Ives have anything for him into the bowl corner? Not going to do it here. Macha just has to hold on for about half a lap.
Yeah, just half a lap more, and in the section that last time by, Maxwell pulled about a car length away from Parker as they go to the infield at turn number 6 here. Half a lap to go. Ives is close enough. He's going to force Macha to probably have to close the door, but he doesn't. He leaves it open. Ives is going to run underneath him. Little bit maybe of leaning on the bumper, but either way, Parker Ives gets underneath the Macha coming out of the hairpin. Now, final corner coming up. Macha's right there. He'll force Ives to go to the low side to defend. Macha follows. He tries to give the bumper back, but it's not strong enough. Parker Ives will win the pre-final in micro swift as Macha finishes second. Hands in the air. Colton Schneegenberg will cross the line in no man's land back in third, and it's a long ways back to find our 4th placeman of Tanner Barsh and Zane Burgess. He's in a massive gaggle as they come down to the line. A 5-car grouping down the front straightaway. Who gets that final spot inside the top 5? It'll go Barsh. Then it will go Gavin Decay as down the final lap, Zane Burgess drops to 7th. Sterling Mulata, an 8-spot gain, up to the 6th position from dead last. A very impressive pre-final from the Kart Republic of Sterling Mulata. Burgess 7th, Sutton 8th. Cade Wolf ends out in 9th to the recovery. He ends just ahead of Lawrence Perriman, who also faded in that one down to the 10th position. Parker Stewart ends 11th. Ryder Sutton 12th. Danny Ramirez in 13th. And William Roberts, the only DNF, unfortunately, from this pre-final, in 14th. IAME Heavy is next up and ready to roll. We'll take a commercial break and come back with more. 1 pre-final in the books, 6 to go for the free coverage before we go to KC members exclusively. So if you haven't already, make sure to hit that join button at the bottom of your screen. For $9.99 a month, you'll get to see the main events live here this afternoon from Trackhouse Motorplex. We'll be right back.
Has steadily made progress since its inception in October 2021. On top of servicing the Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana areas with products from Compkart chassis, Tillotson carts and engines, IAME, Briggs, Honda, and more, they're now promoting race events as well throughout the mid and coastal South region at NOLA Motorsports Park and Finish Line Performance Karting in Biloxi, Mississippi. Races are already set for the fall of 2022. September 3rd, October 22nd, and November 12th at NOLA Motorsports Park, and 2 dates, September 10th and October 15th at Finish Line Performance Karting. Driver Line is set to finish this year strong.
right, welcome back here live from Trackhouse Motorplex for the IAME Grand Nationals. We just had our first pre-final event with the Micro Swift categories. Now the IAME Heavy guys are getting ready to go set for their pre-final. Like we talked about earlier, this is kind of like a super heat, right? So the combination of your 3 heats plus your pre-final result, the average is how you're going to start the final later this afternoon. So the pressure is on for these guys, but again, the pre-final could be one of those things where you make amends for a poor 3 heats, or it could kind of cost you a starting position here. As we're going to run you through your starting lineup. It's going to be Dusty Davis, your pole sitter, the guy to beat so far in the IAME Heavy class. And that's the man we're all chasing, really, so far in this class. It's Billy Workman on his outside. Then it's going to be Martin Stone on the RPM, followed by John Bonanno on his outside on row 2. Row 3 is going to be Ryan Kasner, and it looks to be like Brian Daly. And then it's going to be, I think, Paul Montopoli and others here as they get into the tram lane. Slow and steady. They're getting ready to get the start. It's a long straightaway up to those blue cones where they're allowed to begin accelerating here. And there they go. Dusty Davis on the gas pretty early. Green flag in the air. Around the outside, Billy Workman's going to attempt to go here, but not going to make it stick. Dusty Davis is your leader. Billy Workman slots in the second place. A few drivers up and over the curbing there on turn 3. But the biggest winner in this start is Ryan Kasner, up to P3 already, Caleb.
Yeah, what a move by Ryan Kasner earlier on in this race in that Maranello Kart. And now you see Billy Workman, the North Carolina native. Spoke to him a little bit before this race, Alex, and it seems like he's really feeling confident coming in today. And you can see it already in this opening lap. He's all over the rear end, and now he's going to try to make a move, maybe a switchback on Dusty Davis. Cannot get it done. Sticks the nose down the inside, and Dusty Davis still in P1.
Yeah, the first time all weekend, Dusty Davis had to go defensive there. I mean, I don't think he even knows what it's like to be to go on the defense at this point in the weekend here, because it's been all offense for him all weekend long so far. But it's a big train behind Dusty here, so we'll see. Maybe we're going to have a race on our hands for the KA Master guys. Dusty Davis tapping the helmet, telling Billy Workman to work with him a little bit. He wants to make it a 2-horse race out front, but right now it is a 6-car breakaway.
Yeah, 6-car breakaway. Definitely good to see from these guys. Obviously, it's been all Dusty Davis all weekend long, but now we have Billy Workman, and I think that's Martin Stone on the inside of Daly there, and Martin Stone up to P3 on the charge, trying to get in front of Billy Workman now.
Yeah, Martin Stone making a move there on the Maranello chassis of Ryan Kasner. So now it is Martin Stone, the RPM driver, up into P3, but Kasner's going to follow him right back. Ryan Kasner back to P3. He's feeling racy here in the KA Master class. Martin Stone, side by side, holds on to P3, and now he's going to bring John Bonanno with him. Bonanno going to give him the side pod through turns 9 and 10 here down the hill. Kasner's going to lose a couple of spots here now to his teammate, and his teammate's going to look to the inside of Bonanno, not going to make it stick. Kasner from 3rd to 6th.
Yeah, and you heard there from Bonanno, he has been his own mechanic all weekend long, and he pretty much told me on the pre-race interview that nothing has been going right for him this weekend. And, I mean, we couldn't even notice because he was quick all weekend long. But now John Bonanno trying to make amends for the weekend that he's had, up in a P4 at the moment. Yeah, solid run here for John Bonanno so far. It looks to me like he's left the bolts on at least this time. Yeah. He was joking to us that he's done about everything wrong being a mechanic on his own go-kart this weekend, but seems to be working for him there on the comp kart so far. But here we go out front. But like you said, Caleb, the only driver to really challenge Dusty Davis throughout the weekend has been the white helmet of Billy Workman. He's all over the bumper of Dusty Davis so far. Still a little bit loose is the rear end of that go-kart. This is like we were talking about with Xander. This is the longest heat cycle they're going to really have all year long. This is the 5th race that they're going to have to put on these MG Reds here for the KA Master guys. Yeah, of course. And we can't fail to mention, Alex, draft racing is back. Obviously, we have the full layout back. Now you have the front straight and the back straight. 2 big passing opportunities. You can really suck up to the rear end of these guys and try to make a pass into the hairpins. Yeah, through turn 4 now. Dusty Davis extending his lead by about 2 kart lengths over Billy Workman, but back behind him is Bonanno and Kasner still going side by side. They've been doing this for about 2 laps now. That's going to give Martin Stone and I believe that is Paul Montopoli a chance to pull away just a little bit. So now Bonanno in the P5, Kasner in P6, and then his teammate behind him there. He's going to have help from the Maranello chassis, and then that's Tim Mayer. Hasn't really had the start he would have wanted. He's fallen back to about P8 here. Yeah, definitely not good for Tim Mayer, but John Bonanno has not had the first opening laps that he would have wanted. He was up in a P4 at the moment, but Martin Stone worked his way around him as well as the Maranello kart. And now John Bonanno coming under fire from another Maranello, that number 2 kart going ahead of him now. Yeah, Kasner to the inside of turn 1 for John Bonanno there, gives him the side pod, and now Kasner's teammate
is going to go for a move down to the turn 4, possibly here. John Bonanno is losing a bunch of spots here after, you know, the rocket of a start that he got up to P3. He's back into P6 now.
Yeah, definitely not the start that John Bonanno would have wanted, but up ahead, Ryan Kasner is now going to set his sight on his teammate. Martin Stone up ahead, as well as Billy Workman. Billy Workman falling off a little bit from Dusty Davies here at the moment. Still in drafting range, though, so definitely going to be interesting to see if Billy Workman can make a move here later on in this race.
Yeah, Workman still keeping Dusty Davis honest. This is kind of a repeat of what we saw in the first heat, right? Dusty Davis just a little bit faster than Workman, just enough to get out of the draft range of the white and blue go-kart of Billy Workman here, but so far, so good for Workman. Workman actually goes purple, 52 flat. To Dusty Davis also 52 flat, but Workman a little bit quicker last time by here, and he's still within that draft range of about 3.5 kart length down towards turn 4. He's closing that gap to 2 kart lengths now. So the RPM driver, Dusty Davis, is not smooth sailing just yet, but still a long race to go. 12 laps remaining in this pre-final.
Yeah, the 2 North Carolina natives here leading the field in KA100 Masters. Billy Workman has really been trying to catch right back up to Dusty Davis all weekend. Speaking of Billy Workman, saying that he found a little bit of speed overnight, and he's obviously much more comfortable on this full layout. Obviously, I'd be more comfortable running up in the draft as well.
Yeah, Workman feeling pretty comfortable here. Like I said in his interview, only his 4th ever go-kart race. I actually got a chance to announce his first one, which was last year at the Star Championship night fight. So Billy Workman on his 4th ever go-kart race, looking pretty good here against a seasoned veteran like Dusty Davis here, Caleb.
Yes, of course, and I think Xander has caught up with some of our juniors here. Down to you, Xander.
Check, check. Thanks, Caleb. Here with Stephen Miller. Stephen, you and I were just catching up a little bit. Obviously, the car that you feel like you need to be a little bit fresher is probably the X30 Junior, so you're running on a little bit more of a worn-out frame. We said 12 weekends that we put on this KA Junior car. That being said, you roll off pole. We know it's going to be a battle. What can you do out there to kind of keep everyone at bay?
I think I just have to hold on there, maybe make a move on the last lap. I just got to stay behind first, push them the whole time, and hopefully I can make a move on the last lap. It's just the starting position for the final, so I just got to hang on there.
Obviously, this is more of a super heat, already being P1 in the heats. You don't necessarily need to win this pre-final, to be able to start on pole for the main. But would it be a nice confidence boost after how much the heat, the rain's beating everybody down to get your first win of the day?
Yes, for sure. I mean, we have a lot going on. I think I could win it, so hopefully everything comes and,
And then from the racecraft, like you said, last lap, maybe making a move. Where do you feel the most comfortable on the last lap? You've raced this layout quite a bit. Obviously, you've done it on Friday already. Final lap, if it's a pack of 4 or 5 like we expect it to be, where do you want to be at the white flag?
I want to try to be I'm probably second, because if you're first, you're probably going to get passed. And if he keeps blocking, I'll probably just go around the outside.
There we go. You hear it from Stephen Miller, ready to rip the top side. Stephen rolls off P1 here for the pre-final. Back to you, boys, and good luck to you, Stephen.
Thank you.
Thanks, fellas.
Thank you, Xander. Now on your screen at the moment, Dusty Davis still in the lead of this race, and Billy Workman right behind him, and Martin Stone right up there in the mix, and Byron Daly as well. And that Maranello kart has been super quick in this race, and now he's sucking up to the rear end of Martin Stone here, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing the confidence levels rise for a bunch of these KA Master guys who now on the full Trackhouse Motorplex layout seem to have found new life here compared to Dusty Davis, because right now those two up front are the fastest drivers. It is actually Martin Stone and Byron Daly. They've been quicker the last couple of laps here, and the fast driver on the racetrack is the Maranello of Paul Montopoli. He's back in P6 at a 51.7. So far, the 4 drivers behind the 2 leaders are quicker than them right now.
Yeah, of course, and I think Xander has caught up with more of our drivers here. What do you got, Xander?
Well, Caleb, I'm down here with Enzo Vidmontian. Enzo, last night in that Fast 5 X30 Junior shootout, so close. One mistake ended up costing you. Even hearing from Ernesto, he thought you were fast there. Knowing that you were fast there, knowing that you're starting third in this one, are you confident here for Sunday back on the dry and the normal layout?
Yeah, I'm confident. I feel good because in this layout, we can actually battle and pass. And the other one you couldn't pass. It was very hard to pass, so yeah.
We talked with Steven, and I think you're right. It's probably going to be a lot of passing. We expect probably a big group. Granted, it's a longer session in total at 17 laps, so there's a lot of time. But go time, final lap, where do you want to be coming across the line?
I don't know. It's hard. Because in Utah back then, I was 4th, and I passed all 3 in one corner. So, yeah, I'm not sure.
Hard to say. Obviously, these battles are so unpredictable. That being said, again, you're fast this weekend. Who do you got to thank for all the hard work on both classes to keep you at the front of the grid?
Austin, my dad, Motaz, BN Engines, Kart Republic, yeah.
Well, the BN Engines Motaz Sport Kart Republic looks pretty fast here for Enzo Vidmonte, and he rolls off third in the KA Junior pre-final coming up, boys.
Thank you, Xander.
Yeah, thank you, Xander. Back out front, though, with 6.5 laps to go. It is a 4-kart battle for the lead in KA Masters. So Dusty Davis, I mean, this is the first race all weekend long that he hasn't really had a smooth sailing here for the number 7 RPM driver there, the local, who has a bunch of laps around this racetrack here. But Workman on his 4th ever go-kart race. You know, he has a lot of experience in the dirt, not as much in the dry on the asphalt racing here, but looking to be a seasoned veteran in the class. He's carrying Martin Stone and Byron Daly with him so far.
Yeah, of course. And if I'm Billy Workman here, I'm tapping the back of my helmet, telling Martin Stone to push me forward to try to catch right back up to Dusty Davis, who is still pulling away from this class as there is 2 kart lengths in between them.
Yeah, the 2 Mooresville, North Carolina natives here of Dusty Davis, Billy Workman, still your leaders in the KA Masters class, but right behind them, Martin Stone and Byron Daly have something to say here. Byron Daly hasn't really had the pace that we would have expected out of the Maranello chassis up to this point in the weekend, but it's showing as a late lunge. Martin Stone had to get on the brakes a little bit to avoid hitting the side of Billy Workman. Workman looks over his shoulder. They're side by side now, going down the hill towards the final corner. Martin Stone on the curbing to the inside. He's through. The RPM driver is now through, and they're going to go side by side now. Byron Daly, a crossover move. He's going to go from 4th and possibly 2nd down to turn 1. He's through. Byron Daly to P2.
What a move by Byron Daly. But now you see the gap that Dusty Davis has pulled on them. The more they fight, the more that the guys behind Dusty Davis fight, the more he's going to start to pull away, Alex.
Yeah, this is an early birthday gift here for Dusty Davis, who last time by crossed the line, you know, with maybe a 10th gap, and now it is over a second to the guys behind him. So, I mean, those guys put on a pretty good show for us here in the commentator's booth as there goes the RPM of Martin Stone. Back to P2, and now Billy Workman side by side with Byron Daly, but Daly's going to have the inside for this next double right. Crossover incoming from Billy Workman, not going to make it happen, so Byron Daly now falls to P3. Workman holds station at P4, and all this battling has brought Ryan Kasner and John Bonanno back into the mix.
The man, John Bonanno. It seems like the screws have been tight on today, but now he has a lot of work to do to try to catch right back up and get himself where he has been all weekend. Martin Stone now leads the pack. Byron Daly behind him, and Billy Workman it wasn't the lap that he would have wanted as he falls all the way back down to P4, and definitely Billy Workman with a lot of work to do as Byron Daly peeks a nose down the inside in turn 4 of Martin Stone. Martin Stone still ahead.
Yeah, Dusty Davis proving how much battling can help you lose ground here. He's not even in the same frame as these 4 drivers right here. As Workman to the inside of Byron Daly into turn 8, late on the brakes. The blue and white of Billy Workman. He's through. Workman back to P3. He was your outside pole sitter. He's driving his way back up to the top 3 now. This is, you know, this is essentially a superheat, right? So really it's just about keeping your nose clean for a good starting spot for the final. That's where the trophies are earned, right? So Dusty Davis so far right now with 3.5 to go here, looking to go for a pre-final victory and really put himself P1 for the final here. But Martin Stone is going to have something to say about it coming later today, I think.
Yeah, and it seems like Martin Stone really kept his nose clean through those couple of corners and really worked his way through the field now in P2 as there's a little bit like 1 kart length in between him and Billy Workman as Billy Workman is going to try to work with Byron Daly here at the moment. We haven't seen it so far, but Billy Workman going to try to get ahead of Martin Stone here as Billy Workman. I mean, I know the North Carolina native and the pretty much one of the hometown guys. He's definitely going to want to start on the front row, Alex.
Yeah, for sure. Workman puts together a good couple of corners here all over the bumper of the RPM, number 441 of Martin Stone, but it is a gaggle of go-karts behind him. It was a 4-kart breakaway a few laps ago, but all that battling as Workman to the inside. He's through. Billy Workman back to P2 where he started. I thought a crossover was coming, but here comes Martin Stone. He has help from Byron Daly. He's going to think better of it, though, as they go through turn 1, climbing the hill towards 2 and 3 now. It is 5 karts battling for that 2nd position. Here it goes down the hill. Billy Workman has a good run out of turn 3. Martin Stone looks over his shoulder. Oh, I thought he was going to peek a nose. Had to get on the brakes there just to avoid hitting the side of Billy Workman. So that's going to give Workman a bit of breathing room as they enter turns 5 and 6.
Yeah, and you said it yourself, Alex. The more these guys move out of line, the more they're going to lose ground to that blue and white of Billy Workman, and he has still a 1 kart length gap back to Martin Stone, and now that closes down to half a kart length, and there goes Martin Stone a little bit slow out of that hairpin, but Martin Stone going to try to catch right back up to Billy Workman, as well as Byron Daly and John Bonanno. You see him coming into the background, as well as Ryan Kasner right there as well. But now these guys are definitely going to try to make a move here with 1 lap to go. We're coming into the last lap. Billy Workman leads this group, and there goes Byron Daly on the inside of Martin Stone. Cannot get it done, but it's been all Dusty Davis so far, and he's still in the lead of this race.
Yeah, Dusty Davis out front in a different area code compared to these 5 guys. Billy Workman has extended his advantage. It looks to be a P2 for Billy Workman, unless, a mistake or, I don't want to commentator curse him here, but the 4 drivers behind them are battling pretty hard here as Kasner and Bonanno going side by side. They've been doing this all race long. Kasner has gotten the better of him as of yet. He's up to P5. Martin Stone in 3rd, trying to hunt down the 2nd place driver, Billy Workman. Kasner to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to defend from John Bonanno. Bonanno gives him the bumper a little bit here, and now we're going to go 3 wide. Oh, huge contact. John Bonanno and Ryan Kasner collide in turn 9, and Kasner is out of this race. Back out front, though, Dusty Davis rounds the final corner, and he's going to win the pre-final in KA Masters and put himself on pole position for the final.
Definitely not the race finish that Ryan Kasner would have wanted, as that is going to affect his starting position really here. Ultimately, he may start last here in this race, as I believe he wasn't able to get out of the grass. So definitely unfortunate there by Ryan Kasner, as you see him crossing the line now. Definitely not the race ending that he would have wanted, as John Bonanno and them get together. So definitely not good for them, Alex.
Yeah, not really what you want to see there from Ryan Kasner, John Bonanno, but we're going to send it on down to Xander. What you got for us?
Well, fellas, here we've already sold out of all of our IAME Grand Nationals 2023 official jerseys here from our partners at Pride. But we do have still some of the standard event T-shirts here you can see, both with this on the front and the IAME Grand Nationals logo on the back. And for a last-second clearance sale, it's a buy 2, get 1 free over at the Pride merchandise tent. So again, these T-shirts are still available. You can also buy them online. We'll extend that offer online as well with shipping. So buy 2, get 1 free as we clear out the last bit of the 2023 IAME Grand Nationals merchandise. In the meantime, engines have fired. KA Junior is coming your way. When we come back from this commercial break, Stephen Miller and Ernesto Rivera will lead off the 38 driver grid for the pre-final.
Looking for the perfect vacation spot and a family fun weekend where a race breaks out? Look no further than Karting the Coast. Our 10 race schedule is already well underway, with stops at NOLA Motorsports Park in New Orleans and finish line performance karting in Biloxi, Mississippi, where our podium ceremonies are on the beach. We know how to have a good time and put on a good race, and all that we're missing is you. To find out more, visit kartingthecoast.info.
Here at MPG Motorsports, our main goal is to provide the best pathway into professional motorsports for our entire team, drivers and mechanics alike. We're based out of Whiteland Raceway Park in Indiana. For more information, contact us at chase@mpg-motorsports.com.
Welcome back to Trackhouse Motorplex. KA Junior rounding the final turn with Stephen Miller and Ernesto Rivera on the front row. Enzo Vidmontien and Carter McMurray will make up row number 2. Austin Olds and Isaac Malcutt, row 3. Turner Brown and John Antonino, row 4. Alexander Vanchev and Chase Buscalia round off the top 10. As the field works its way through the tram lines down the long front straightaway, all 30-plus drivers are ready to go. Stephen Miller on the inside is going to fire off early in the start box, and we will get the green flag as we go down to turn number 1, and around in the front of the field goes Isaac Malcutt. He gets turned right off the start down in the first corner, and the only casualty is that black and red Gillard as the field rockets down the back straightaway. Austin Olds with a great start on the red and white MPG Motorsports Kart Republic heads the pack, while Stephen Miller leads them through the infield, or was for the moment, into turns 5 and 6 here on this opening lap. The top 2 have broken away. Miller and Rivera with a hefty margin back to Austin Olds in third.
Wow, I mean, what a perfectly timed start for Stephen Miller, but here we go, around the outside. Mason Walters on Chase Buscalia. What a move there from Walters. If he can make it stick, he will make it stick, and now Turner Brown's going to take advantage of it. Not going to make it stick there for Chase Buscalia, though. What a start for him as well. He didn't have maybe the greatest of heat races yesterday, but he's going to make it stick there as we see him move one of the Kart Publics as well. It's Chaos for third place.
Yeah, Chaos all the way down the start-finish line straight as they head down to turn number 1 here and up the hill towards turn number 3. We watch them as they go side by side. Olds and Buscalia up wheel to turn number 3. They're both going to run each other wide. And here coming down the inside on that black and white Speed Concepts Racing red Speed is Turner Brown. And around the outside, deep on the brakes, one of the Kart Republics, nearly 3 wide. But a big-time move from Emma Kate Scarborough trying to get through. And the Chad Dawkin Racing machine, she ends up just ahead as one driver got turned in the bowl and pounded the wall further down the leaderboard. Look at Carter McMurray and Austin Olds, how far they've dropped already. Olds again was third a moment ago. He's back to about 8th or 9th. Turner Brown under fire. Scarborough getting the boot from Nathan Dupuis. And Oliver Weldon, I believe, Salvador de la Vecchia, all the way on the outside in that blue and yellow LN card. He'll get freight trained as 3 wide to the inside as one of the RPG Cosmics, and somehow they survive out of that last turn and down the front straightaway.
Oh my goodness. I mean, it is just racing everywhere you look. Wolney made it 3 wide in the final corner. Out front, though, these guys in a different state compared to everybody else. Ernesto Rivera, Stephen Miller, as we see him move. Oliver Weldon, the guy who's taken advantage of all the chaos so far, he makes a move now. He's up into the top 5.
As they go through turns 5, 6, and 7. Here comes the leaders through the infield section. Turner Brown drops a wheel. Now Scarborough probably going to look to go in the hairpin. Not going to go. Turner Brown holds the spot with Nathan Dupuis behind. That is on your screen, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Austin Olds is 10th. Carter McMurray is 11th. Up the road a little bit is a train of about 4 to 5, led by Mason Walters. With Buscalia, Weldon, and Vidmontien in tow. In fact, Walters actually got a little bit away from that entire pack. Fast lap of the race comes from Mason Walters, 51.89, but he's already 3 seconds back from the leaders as they go up the hill to turn number 3.
Yeah, I mean, a bunch of big movers. One of them being Rivera. He's going to move to the inside. Move Rivera back to the lead. He feels as though at this point in the race, he is quicker. But like Xander spoke with Stephen Miller earlier on in the day, and Miller said, where do you want to be before the last lap? It's second. So right now, the Kart Public driver, Stephen Miller, is in the spot that he wants to be in, but still 14 to go.
Yeah, long way to go for the top 2. They're going to probably coast this one all the way to the end. If they battle a lot, then everyone can get there, but it'll be a long way for Mason Walters on that BJR MDR LN car to try and work his way forward as he runs third. Back in 4th and 5th there still Chase Buscalia and Oliver Weldon and Enzo Vidmontien, who has slipped a little ways from 4th, 5th, and 6th. So here comes Walters down the start-finish line straight in third, safely by his lonesome through turn number 1 as they climb the hill. And then it's Buscalia and Oliver Weldon. Lap time-wise there, everybody was at least even, if not a little faster than the front 2, but not enough to run them down. Walters that time a 51.83, Buscalia 51.7. Vidmontien is under heavy fire though. Enzo Vidmontien got away with Weldon and Buscalia early. He's now under a lot of pressure for that 6th spot from that pack of 4 behind him, nearly 5. As into the hairpin, let's see, does Turner Brown want to go? He does. He'll bring Emma Kate Scarborough down the inside as well. Little bit of a hip check coming out the corner. She's going to get hung out to dry now in turn 9. As to the outside she goes, Vidmontien down low. She tries to pinch him tight. Vidmontien runs her wide. Nathan Dupuis trying to follow as they go up the hill. Emma Scarborough to the wayside. Here comes Carter McMurray.
Yeah, McMurray and Old are going to take advantage of this as well, as Scarborough around the outside, not going to lose the spots to those drivers, but it's just so difficult. Once you get stuck on the outside of turn 9 and 10, you're pretty much stuck there through the final corner, and that's proving there to be the case for her, as there goes Weldon to the inside of Buscaglia. He's through to P4. He's been one of the fastest go-karts on the racetrack.
Yeah, nicely done for Oliver Weldon to get through into 4th, as this group back here, 6th on back, Turner Brown a little bit further away. All the while here, 5 laps into this 17-lap heat pre-final, and Ernesto Rivera and Stephen Miller continue their lead at about 2.5 seconds while they battle behind here inside the top 10. McMurray going to go to the inside of Scarborough. Will go side by side as well with Caleb Vieska down on pit lane with some of our KA100 seniors. Caleb?
Thank you, Xander. Yeah, all right, I'm good. Thank you, Xander. Gavin Bailiff, hasn't been the weekend that you would have hoped for. Obviously, talking to you a little bit beforehand. What are you missing here?
Missing kind of the whole package. The kart's been good all weekend. I'm still screwing up on some of my driving, breaking some shifter habits, but motor just hasn't quite been there. We've been working for it. We're really fast through all the infield stuff, but we're just from turn 1 to turn 4, we're losing too much.
Yeah, obviously, and I was asking you, obviously you're trying to make it into the final. So what's your plan coming into this race? Obviously, you were telling me that you just want to finish this race. Or are you going to race hard, or are you going to just try to keep your nose clean?
I'm gonna race hard. I'm obviously gonna try not to be stupid, but I'm gonna make up as many spots as I can without crashing out and making some dumb move that's gonna put me out of contention for the final.
Sounds good. Best of luck, Gavin.
Thank you.
Back to you, Xander.
It's a very good point as Caleb Vieska makes. It is the top 45 after points. There will be no last chance qualifier here today for KA Senior. They have 57 drivers, I believe, in total, if not 58 or 59. 29, I think, in both of the pre-finals are on the list, minus 1 or 2 scratches. With all that said, that means that you've got to have, obviously, good heats. If you don't have good heats, you got to make up a lot of spots in that pre-final because it's only 50% of the weight for the points tally. But the top 45, no matter where the points fall, will determine who goes into the main event. They're split in half for these new pre-finals that'll be coming up here next. So that'll be a big talking point, as roughly the average will be about a 22nd position to be safe and in to the main. Up the hill here with 9.5 to go, we see that Oliver Weldon and Chase Buscaglia are still together, still chasing Mason Walters here at the halfway marker with 8 down, 9 to go. The gap is holding station to the top 2 as Stephen Miller has retaken over the lead from Ernesto Rivera, Alex.
Yeah, Miller back to the point over the RPG of Ernesto Rivera. Oliver Weldon and Buscaglia working very well together. They're actually the quickest of the top 5 so far. And I mean, just a little shout out to 3rd and 4th there. Walters up 9. Oliver Weldon on the Lando Norris car up 10 positions. He's brought Buscaglia with him, and he's closing the gap pretty quickly there to his Lando Norris partner there of Mason Walters. And Walters, all on his lonesome here, will inevitably fall to the clutches soon of these guys in 4th and 5th.
Yeah, Mason Walters can only do as much as humanly possible here. 3rd in line, a 10th slower than Weldon and Buscaglia, who have been chipping away at the gap this entire race, it feels like. 8 laps to go now. Let's go side by side again down to pit lane here with Caleb.
Thank you, Xander. I'm over here with the other bailiff. Finnegan, just walk me through what happened there yesterday. You crashed out of that race. Your suit's not on today. It seems like you're not racing.
Yeah, we just got into a wreck in turn 8. Race got taken out, and then I had nowhere to go but into him. Totaled the kart. Couldn't get it fixed, so we're just out for the weekend.
Sounds good. And obviously, your brother is racing, your younger brother. Are you giving any tips to the little brother?
No, he's usually faster than me, so I'll just let him do what he knows how to do.
Sounds good. Back to you, Xander.
All right, there you go. Unfortunate deal for Finnegan Bailiff. Again, that was a gnarly crash where we saw the aftermath of the go-kart but missed the incident that absolutely totaled the frame for the Trinity Karting Group Kart Republic driver. On the worst place to be here with the totaled car is obviously on the sidelines on Sunday here. And a few more drivers we can see in the graveyard in turn number 1, Isaac Malcutt. One of them, it looks like, as the field heads down to the first corner again, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, like you're saying with Isaac Malcutt, really unfortunate there for the privateer, the guy who just got one of his first junior wins last weekend at Pittsburgh there. So with the pre-final being, super heat, it's not going to cost them, so you're not going to have to start 40th for the final, but it's going to put them about mid-pack here. So really unfortunate for Malcutt. But looking to Turner Brown here, fighting with Carter McMurray and actually catching up to turn around his teammate of Nathan Dupuis. And here comes Scarborough bringing a bunch of go-karts, one of them being Wolney. Ends up Vidmontien under fire from one of Lando Norris' carts who goes really wide in turn 8. Vidmontien, who has a bumper, looks to be maybe a little bit loose as well.
Yeah, that's Alexander Vanchev, I believe, in the 860 trying to battle. I mixed him up with Salvador De La Vecchia. Apologies earlier, but Alexander Vanchev going to lose his spot in net to John Antonino Jr. Gets it back in 11. Antonino crosses him over, can't get back clear. So down the front stretch, he looks again. Turn 1, Antonino side by side. Vanchev not wanted to surrender, and now Antonino comes under pressure from the Zanella Racing Tony Kart of, I believe, Christian Quijano. Meanwhile, as they head through the bowl, oh, look at that. Little bump and run as the field goes through. Antonino's going to be up on the high side. He's got to get back in line just ahead of Quijano, and Quijano's going to force the issue as Antonino has to give way. So Antonino goes back a spot. Christian Quijano with a good drive forward so far on that Zanella Racing Tony Kart. He is up, I believe, about 4 spots or so. Antonino under fire from De La Vecchia there on the Kart Republic. And then behind him, another KR is the 884 of, or 824 of James Newell, who runs back in the 19th spot. There down the inside is De La Vecchia. He gets on by on Antonino Jr.'s Tesoro Raceworks CRG. Antonino going to go back on De La Vecchia, who swerves him down into 1, and a late block puts Antonino on the back foot as they go up the hill. So that could be under review for De La Vecchia moving into the braking zone. And while they were side by side, down the backstretch, Antonino continues the backward slide. Newell tries to go. Now he has to shut the door on him and try to run the high side. Eventually gives way, maybe, no, yes. Give it to the 884 machine.
Yeah, it's James Newell now. He makes that move, finally stick on Antonino. Antonino has to go defensive here. Defense turned offense. Doesn't make it work, though. James Newell's going to hold on. All this battling is going to help them lose a bunch of ground to the drivers in front of them. Antonino last time by was about 4 karts ahead of where he is right now, but got pushed to the wayside last lap. Now we have a move here from one of the Kart Republics there on the RPM driver. Not going to make it stick. That was the 882 there. We'll see if we can get a name on that driver. Antonino now to the inside of turn 1. He's going to make it stick now on James Newell. These guys have been going back and forth for the past couple of laps. All this racing, though, has made it a 5-kart battle now for the P12 position.
This is all in this midfield fight here. You have Lucas Brincati on the Ryan Perry Motorsport Tony Kart. He's up 22 spots from the back of the grid to 16th. William Scarborough on that 882 Kart Republic. The 824 being James Newell. He's up 6 to 14th. Vanchev now gets away in 13th. Quijano safely in 12th. And Emma Kate Scarborough up 6 as well into the top 10. But this midfield battle continues with 4 to go as we start to shift our way back up the leaderboard. Ernesto Rivera and Stephen Miller, they're so far ahead they just crossed the start-finish line and are headed down to turn number 1 and up the hill to 2 and 3. 3 laps to go now here in this 17-lap main event, or a pre-final, sorry. Feels like a main with how long it is. And there's still time, plenty of time, for Stephen Miller to set up Ernesto for a last lap duel. We'll come to the 2 to go sticks this time, though, Alex, but he said he wanted to be second. He's right where he needs to be.
Yeah, he's in the spot that he wants to be in. As at this point in the race, seems to be a little bit quicker as we look a little further back. Oliver Weldon and Chase Buscalia have caught the rear bumper of Mason Walters now, so we're going to have a dogfight here for 3rd place with 2.5 to go. Walters doing everything he can, like we were saying, Xander, but with him being all on his lonesome for most of the race, he had no drafting partner here, so doing the best that he can. And Weldon and Buscalia worked so well together to get to this point. Can they capitalize?
Let's see it out of the final turn. They'll come down the front straightaway, this time to the 2 to go signal, and Walters is safe out in front. Buscalia also says to Weldon, keep going forward, no worries. Your leader's headed down the backstretch. Here we go. Time to dance. Ernesto Rivera, Stephen Miller. Ernesto looks back. Stephen's not poking low, so he stays kind of wide. Behind him, that group of 3 continues to roll forward, single file as well. So into the infield, lap and a half to go for the 2 best junior drivers so far in 2023, Ernesto Rivera and Stephen Miller. Ernesto going to fade just about a car length low in the hairpin. Stephen tries to cross him up. He'll pull alongside, but he won't be nosing enough to maybe do anything in 9. Now tries again, can't do anything there. In fact, Ernesto, great exit, great launch. He'll pull by 4 car lengths, nearly 3, up the hill to 11.
Yeah, I don't think Stephen Miller wanted to get that crossover done because he had such a good launch out of turn 8. It looked to me like he lifted, but it actually cost him more ground than it benefited him here. Entering turn 1 and going uphill towards turns 2 and 3. Stephen Miller's got a great run up the hill, exiting 3 now down the hill. Ernesto's going to have to go defensive here, and Miller's going to go for a move. Looks over his shoulder. Ernesto fades low, goes high. Miller tries to go high as well. Can't make it stick, though, Xander.
Final time to turn number 5. Ernesto Rivera versus Stephen Miller. 3 major passing zones remain. This next one is the first of them. Turn 8. This is the heaviest braking zone on the racetrack. Rivera low. Again, Miller tries for the crossover move. He'll have to clip the curb. He gets nose to nose with him to turn number 9. Rivera now again just has to park it on the apex. Miller's going to get the crossover. He'll get clear. Nice move, Stephen Miller. And now they're so slow, it'll be hard for Ernesto to mount a counterattack. Final turn, not close enough. Stephen Miller does exactly what he said he would. He wins the pre-final in KA Junior. And behind him, side by side around the outside, Oliver Weldon is going to get third by 1/1000th of a second over Mason Walters. Chase Buscalia ends in 5th. Nathan Dupuis ends up in 6th. Jackson Wolney is 7th. Emma Kate Scarborough is 8th. Carter McMurray 9th. And Turner Brown rounds the top 10 off. An 8-spot gain for Emma Kate Scarborough, 10 gain for Christian Quijano. A terrible pre-final for Enzo Vidmontien, but a lot more drivers you saw just flicker on the left side of your screen with bad pre-finals. Rowan McCurdy out. Eric Cuesto, Isaac Crawley, Salvador de la Vecchia was making up so much ground. He's out. Austin Olds started inside the top 5. He all the way falls to 34th with a DNF. So does Henry Taylor, Mateo Pappas, and there it is, the first driver out. Isaac Malcutt. In that number 875, Privateer Gillard, the father-son duo, suffer a horrible pre-final here with a 37th place result. He still will start decently for the main event, but with a 50% weight, it'll be an even break and probably put him somewhere in the mid-teens after such a good weekend to this point. Unfortunate for Isaac Malcutt. The wins are picking up, the racing's picking up. KA100 Senior, the pre-final B, on deck as we get set to go green with more. Well, here's a look at the starting lineup for KA100 Seniors' first of 2 pre-finals. Brandon Lemke in the Millwright Racing Hotes Driver Development Tony Kart looks pretty good, and the 901 will lead the field off. Brent Cruz on the Ryan Perry Motorsport Tony Kart in the number 11 will join him on the outside of row 1. And he has been maybe a little bit below normal form for where we like to see the Denver, North Carolina native. But that being said, I wouldn't say it's been a bad weekend. He's just been kind of under the radar. He starts second again here, 4th overall after the heats as he gets set to go. Back from him, talk about another driver that is looking for some big ones here. How about the big guy, Danny Formal, in that number 237 RPG Cosmic. He's had some consistent runs to the heats, following up that with a phenomenal $4,000 win in the KA100 shootout. And the Costa Rican is ready for action here as he rolls off P3 here in the pre-final B. To his outside, the man who's now $5,000 richer and nearly was $7,500 richer, Joe Turney on that Chad Dawkin Racing Kart Republic. He got a rude awakening in heat number 1 on this layout on Friday, but he was phenomenal on the alternate layout Saturday. That's put him on the 2nd row. You go back from our top 2 starting rows here to row number 3. It's fast Frankie Mossman on that Tesoro Raceworks black and orange CRG. That'll be starting on the last spot inside the top 5. To his outside, it'll be the rookie standout here who's had a phenomenal debut weekend. That's the black and yellow Tony Kart for Zanella Racing of Leonardo Escorpione. What a phenomenal run he's put together so far. And behind him, back on row 4, we work backwards to the black and chrome and gray of Kart Republic of Connor Ferris in that Team Ferris Racing number 902. To his outside, it'll be Weston Workman in the Timmy Tech blue and yellow comp cart. He's been strong in certain heats, but in every heat race, it feels like for Weston Workman, he's had to fight from the back foot from about lap 3 onward. If he can get a rocket start here with maybe a little bit of a safer, more kind of out of the target zone starting spot in 8th, maybe we'll see Weston Workman crack himself into the top couple of positions. Another driver that's been a little bit off in this absolutely stacked KA Senior field here this weekend has been Trinity Karting Group driver Hayden Jones. The 916 rolls off in the 9th spot there on that green and white machine. And behind him in the black, white, and red, Speed Concepts Racing Red Speed, the newly signed driver Colin Lloyd in only his 3rd weekend with the team after an impressive debut in Utah that landed him a deal to go to Newcastle and to come here for the Miami Grand Nationals, the Miami, Florida native for the T1D Racers Racing with Type 1 Diabetes Initiative. Rolls off to to start row number 6, I believe, with Hayden Jones completing at the end of row number 5. They'll make their way out of turn number 9, begin to form themselves up the hill, and we get set for the first of 2 KA100 Senior heat races. Brandon Lemke and Brent Cruz again, row 1. Danny Formal on the pink and purple RPG Cosmic on the inside. Joe Turney on the white and orange Chad Dawkin Racing Factory Kart Republic on the outside. It's $5,000 here if you can sweep a junior or senior and senior category. Brent Cruz in the running for it, as is Turney. They line the outside lane, so is Frankie Mossman, who starts 5th on the 3rd on the inside, 5th overall. We get set to go. A nice and easy start from the Wisconsin Wonder Kid, Brandon Lemke. He'll take us under green as we go down to turn number 1, and Formal quickly moves into 2nd, Cruz to 3rd as they climb the hill.
Yeah, Turney, good start around the outside, stay in 4th, fast Frankie Mossman 5th. It's really single file down the hill. The first 6 haven't gained or lost any positions here. Lemke holds on. Formal up a great start, up into P2 already. Brent Cruz holding on to P3, and there's Turney, the guy who's racing for $5,000 in each class here, running double duty.
Here they come as a big mistake from Lemke on the opening lap. He drops a tire in turn 6. Formal gets through. Here comes the cavalry. Cruz, Turney, Mossman will all go by. The Wisconsin native as Brandon Lemke fades to 5th. So a big mistake on the opening lap. Drops a tire out of turn number 6. And now to lead lap number 1 is the big guy. Danny Formal will take us out of turn number 11. As side-by-side Connor Ferris tries to put one over on the rookie. Now he's under fire. Back for 7th. Here comes Weston Workman, Colin Lloyd, and Braden Robertson looking low.
Yeah, Robertson, a good solid start for him in this pre-final. He's been pretty quiet for most of the heat races, but here comes a CRG driver. He's brought Hayden Jones with him. Hayden Jones, one of the drivers that we expected to be quicker than he has been. There goes Brent Cruz now on the RPM. He goes to the point. He's past Formal, and Formal now under fire from a few other drivers such as Joe Turney.
There's the pack split. You can see the top 6 have gotten away. And Brent Cruz, we mentioned he's been quick, but a little bit under the radar for the normal form, where we've seen that number 11 machine lead so many laps here at Trackhouse Motorplex. He's back where he likes to be, helming the pack as they come out of turn number 9. And Brent Cruz will take us up the hill to go and put 2 laps in the books as we go with Formal and Turney all stacking up through the corner. Down the front straightaway, Brent Cruz leads for lap number 2.
Yeah, it's one of the first times all weekend we see Brent Cruz have a pretty good start to the race here. As fast Frankie Mossman, he doesn't want to be 4th anymore. He passes Joe Turney, so move the CRG driver now into P3. Oh, Braden Robertson and Connor Ferris have spun around in turn 2.
Braden Robertson and Connor Ferris will get back going, but contact in that second pack has taken them out of contention. Meanwhile, the leaders stay in order with an exception. Frankie Mossman's gone by Joe Turney, move the black and orange CRG to 3rd as they go into the infield hairpin once again.
Yeah, Brent Cruz still your leader. I mean, one of the most exciting drivers on the grid, and really out of every single class here. We saw him in the shootout race on Friday in the KA, one of the heat races, white lining the racetrack for about 10 laps. Can we see more of that here with 14 to go? He might need to. Frankie Mossman, late lunge, not going to make it stick. Danny Formal closes the door, and now Turney and Lemke and Scorpione might go through here on Mossman.
They all look low, and they all will get clear fully as Scorpione gets through. That's going to connect the groups. Here comes Colin Lloyd and Weston Workman. They're making some hay as they put a good lap together last time by. Turney going to take him to the middle of the racetrack into the bowl as he tries to fend off Lemke and a Scorpione for 3rd. And now Danny Formal and Brent Cruz, 2 drivers who were teammates just a couple of years ago in Brent's Super Nationals debut in the Pro Shifter category, get an opportunity to potentially break away if they stay lined up.
Yeah, so far so good for the 2 guys out front. Brent Cruz, Danny Formal have a bit of breathing room to the guys behind, but Joe Turney, one of the fastest drivers all weekend long, besides the first heat in KA Senior, where it was kind of a rude awakening for him in what to expect from these KA Senior guys. As a Scorpione, the standout rookie, goes to P4 on Brandon Lemke, and he's brought fast Frankie Mossman with him. And here comes Colin Lloyd, one of the fastest rookies we've seen in the senior class. Lemke's going back to the inside. Oh, he's going to shove Mossman almost into the barrier.
Brandon Lemke not happy with Mossman. He put his hand in the air, but the thing is, he was so late getting down to the inside. Mossman really had nowhere to go but hang on the outside of him. So Lemke, I think, a little frustrated with Mossman, but to be fair, I don't know if Mossman really did all too much wrong in that one. Hayden Jones now joins that pack as they come into the infield. Brent Cruz still the leader, but Joe Turney, fastest car on the racetrack, is that CDR Kart Republic. He continues to close at his personal best last time by.
Yeah, Joe Turney has left the group behind him and has caught up to the RPG of Danny Formal. We're going to have a 3-car battle out front with coming up to 12 laps to go. Still a long way to go in this heat race. Now Scorpione has left Brandon Lemke a little bit. Now it's a battle for 4th here. We see Formal give Cruz the finger there, saying, please keep going forward. No need to defend here. Joe Turney, a really smart driver as well. Be curious to see what he does now that he's caught up to the back of these 2 up front here. Formal up on the wheel here. Let's see if we can see a move. Late lunge. Formal to P1. Brent Cruz going to try to hold the outside. I don't think it's going to work here. And now Joe Turney is going to get left out to dry there in turn 5.
Not a good opportunity for Turney, but he's still close. And now the big guy wants to lead him into the infield. He worked with Brent as long as he could, but now with company coming, he knows he's got to go forward and try to throw Brent to the wolves. Behind them, that pack is still 4 with Brandon Lemke getting back around Leonardo Scorpione. Weston Workman and Colin Lloyd continue their charge forward. That second group was almost as fast as the leaders last time. I think they'll be quicker this time. 11 laps to go as Danny Formal leads to 1. Joe Turney 1 second, but he can't get it done in the opening corner.
Yeah, Brent Cruz, not an easy driver to get around, especially at his home track here. Let's see if Turney's going to peek a nose into 4. He has a run. Not going to happen here. And here comes the squad. Brandon Lemke, Scorpione, Workman, and Lloyd are closing the gap. It's going to be an 8 to 9 car battle for the leading KA Senior. Formal still your leader, though. But Brent Cruz and Joe Turney are hot in his tails here, heading down towards turn 8. Are we going to see a late lunge from Cruz? We're going to see it from Turney. Turney gives a side pod to Cruz and it puts him into the dirt almost. Turney to P2, Lemke late lunge. A Scorpione thought about it. Brent Cruz to 4th now.
Brent Cruz back behind Brandon Lemke as he took a side pod full of the Brit. Joe Turney getting up to 2nd. Cruz with a very wise and conservative move. Again, he's still P2 in the group, P4 in the overall points. He doesn't need to throw it away. Battling for second. A driver that might need to throw some aggressive moves is the one that just went by Weston Workman. Hayden Jones has had an abysmal qualifying that's put him backwards in all heats driving forward. He's on the cusp of right now getting to the top 5 in this heat, in this pre-final, and that'd be a big amount of improvement for the Trinity Karting Group Kart Republic driver. All the while, Formal still leads us into the hairpin with Turney in tow, Lemke, Cruz, and Scorpione your top 5.
Yeah, I mean, what an impressive run, like you're saying, from Hayden Jones, up 11 spots in this race. He has the fastest lap out of 50.6. He's 2/10 quicker than anybody else on the racetrack. You know, without that poor qualifying, we'd be seeing Hayden Jones right now up in the mix here, but he's making amends for some poor qualifying and heat races here. He's back in the mix. It's still Danny Formal, your leader, but Joe Turney last time by, he goes purple. Make it Brandon Lemke. He's your fastest driver on the OTK go-kart. He's bringing Brent Cruz right back with him, but he's left him a little bit.
Yeah, he has pulled away a little bit. Brandon Lemke looked fast, and in fact, he was the fastest on the racetrack as Joe Turney takes over the lead in the bowl. Joe Turney to the point there at the end of the back straightaway. Danny Formal back to second. Lemke closes up here in third with the fastest go-kart right now. The 901 started pole. He's now trying to make up ground from that one mistake he made on the opening lap. He has yet to touch the lead since, but he's closer and closer. It'll be halfway this time. 9 complete. 8 to go at the line. Joe Turney takes us out of turn number 9.
Yeah, this is scary stuff for the guys behind them because these drivers know, as we see one of the comp cars, that's a 362. But like I was saying out front, scary stuff for the drivers behind because we know how quick Joe Turney is once he gets out to an early lead. And still with 8.5 to go, Formal hot on his tail here, closing the gap towards turn 3. Can we see a move from the RPG driver going downhill towards the bank turn 4 bowl corner? He has a run. Not going to make it work there. Joe Turney still your leader.
We saw Chris Harrower was the driver on that Timmy Tech comp kart out in the infield in the 362. He was running about 22nd last time by, so towards the back, and the day just gets worse. Also off, of course, is Braden Robertson there. You saw at the edge of the screen on the Tesoro Raceworks CRG. He's done. Meanwhile, big run for Lemke out of turn 8 as Formal loses a little time, but Danny pointing to the heavens saying, don't worry, Brandon, I'm going to go here on Turney. I see you're there. I'm ready for it. 7 laps to go. Danny Formal lining up Turney, sizing him up as they come down the front straightaway. Does he go in turn 1? Here he comes. No, he points to the backstretch, says wait one more turn. Watch this run as they go down to turn number 4. Formal giving away the secrets of the guys behind. He's ready to go to the lead, Alex.
Yeah, down the hill towards turn 4. There he goes. We knew this was coming. Formal goes through. Lemke through. Cruz is now through. Turney from 1st to 4th. And Hayden Jones. He's up 13 positions in this pre-final. What a run for the TKG Kart Public driver. He's the fastest driver on the track as it stands.
Now those 13 spots, granted, that's on the tally of where he was. I just noticed on timing is Cruz with a dive bomb for second. Lemke over-unders him. What we're seeing on those watching on Race Hero is it was a total merge. So it shows Joe Turney's up 7 spots. He actually was only up about 3 from 4th. This is from the overall merge, so that shows that Hayden Jones was 20th in the rankings after the heat races. If he finishes 5th right here, that would put an average of 10th. It would move him around to maybe the early teens. He's got to get a little bit higher to try and crack the top 10 starting spots for the main. Down the backstretch, Formal leads the field. Lemke's close. He wants the lead back. Brandon Lemke goes through with Brent Cruz in turn 4.
Yeah, Brandon Lemke there on the Hotes Racing OTK go-kart. He goes back to the point. Brent Cruz up to 2nd. And then here's Formal back into 3rd. And JT, the Brit, in 4th. Holding station there with 5.5 to go. He's brought Hayden Jones with him. Do we see a move to the inside? Yes, we do. Joe Turney. Oh, a late lunge on Danny Formal. Not going to make it stick. Hayden Jones might peek a nose here. Thought better of it, and he's brought the Timmy Tech comp kart of Weston Workman, who's putting together a pretty solid pre-final showing here. That'll put him in a decent spot as it stands in the final. And then there's fast Frankie Mossman. He's back in the mix in P7. And then the guy on the back of this train is Leo Scorpione. They've left Colin Lloyd.
Yeah, Lloyd falling back a little bit there on that black and white Speed Concepts Racing red speed, about neutral from where he should be based on the heat race ranking. Let's see what Brent Cruz wants to do down the backstretch here now with 5 laps to go, 17 laps in total. Not going to go on Lemke just yet. He'll wait in line. He's won plenty of races from the lead, but he's also won a lot from second. And the red and white Ryan Perry Motorsport Tony Kart, for the moment, is content to follow Brandon Lemke to the infield. That's your front row starters. They're looking to stay net neutral and start on the first couple of rows in the main event later on this afternoon as they head to 9. Lemke Phenomenal exit out of the infield hairpin. Brandon Lemke looking really good in the low-speed stuff. This was his best section of the racetrack in the early heat races in heat number 1 when he pulled away from Dalton Haynes. Really, really good for Brandon Lemke's Host-DD Tony Kart from turn 8 all the way to turn number 11. As they go up the hill, this is where he's about even to everybody else, and that's what's going to give the opportunity. Maybe at turn 4, Brent Cruz continues to size him up down the backstretch. He does not go just yet. He stays in line through the bowl.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 1, 2, 3 car battle for the KA Senior win with 3 or 4.5 laps to go here. Lemke still your leader, but Brent Cruz hot on his tail, exiting turn 6, down towards one of the best passing opportunities we're going to see all weekend long. Do we see a move from Brent Cruz? Nothing to it there. The RPM driver stays calm and holds station behind Brandon Lemke, but Formal is now back in the mix, and instead of Cruz fighting for first, he's going to have to be worried about the RPG driver who's brought Turney with him, and they've left Hayden Jones just a little bit.
As they climb the hill here, the top 4, like you said, have pulled away a little. They've strung them out with Lemke running some heater lap times. This one will be another good one. Lemke at a 50.7. That was even or better as Cruz goes through in 1. Sized him up, went by at the beginning of the best section of the racetrack for Brent. At the end of the best section for Lemke, but Lemke knows Cruz is going to probably block a little bit in 4. He kind of left the door open, kind of didn't. Frankie Mossman gets by Hayden Jones. That was a good catch. Back for position number 5. So fast, Frankie Mossman's now closer to that leading quartet. Into the hairpin here with 2.5 laps to go. Cruz leaves the door open. Turney thinks about it, but decides not to go on the big guy.
Yeah, Turney thought better of it there. He knows if he starts to battle Formal here, it'll bring the group of Mossman, Workman, and Hayden Jones back in the mix, but they're really already there. Fast Frankie Mossman might be within drafting distance here with 2.5 to go on Joe Turney, and when these guys inevitably start the race, these top 4 are nose to tail. Lemke looks back. He sees if he has help. Not going to do it there in a turn 1. They're going to climb the hill towards turns 2 and 3 here. Lemke knows that Formal is there. He might have to go here, Xander.
As they go down the back straightaway here, Brent Cruz going to turn number 4. Still single file into the bowl. Lemke, Formal, Turney, Mossman. Nobody blocking heavily yet with a lap and a half remaining. Brent Cruz knows that Lemke's good in the final sector. Does he go low to block in this hairpin here this time? He does not. Lemke doesn't go. Turney will. Inside and clear for 3rd. Joe Turney gets around Danny Formal.
Yeah, smart move there from the Brit. I mean, he's putting himself in prime position to take advantage if the 2 leaders go side by side and he can cross them over. So Joe Turney wants to be 3rd as it stands. Final lap incoming here for the RPM driver who still leads over Brandon Lemke. A solid exit there out of the final corner. He won't have to worry about a move here from Lemke, but as they climb the hill here, this is coming up to the best passing opportunity around Trackhouse Motorplex, Xander.
Down the backstretch, Lemke will have a run on Cruz. It's just if Cruz leaves the door open. Brandon says go forward. He's happy with where he's at in 2nd. He doesn't want to fall any further backwards. Mossman, Turney, and Formal all want to go forward. If Lemke doesn't block and doesn't pass in turn 8, I would not be surprised to see Joe Turney send it on him. Lemke checks him back. He knows he's going to go, so he has to go low. So does Cruz. Look at Joe Turney all the way around the outside. They're 3 wide for the lead. Turney's in the dirt. Lemke to the lead. Formal to 2nd. Cruz trying to get by the big guy. Can't do it in turn 9. And Mossman and Workman goes around. Weston Workman out of turn 9 gets spun up the hill. Brandon Lemke is going to win the pre-final. Formal 2nd, Cruz 3rd, and Weston Workman, the innocent bystander, bites the dust on the final lap and gets spun around, and the leader's chaos coming out of turn number 9.
Oh my goodness me. I thought we were going to watch the move of the year from Joe Turney. He was going to go around the outside of turn 8, and it would have happened if he didn't get pushed in the dirt there. Joe Turney, I gotta respect the effort out of the Brit there on the Kart Public, and it ended up net costing him 1 position. He started 3rd there, finished in P4, but still a solid showing for the Brit, who should have a pretty solid starting spot for the final there. But I mean, Weston Workman, he couldn't do right for wrong this weekend. He's put himself in a good spot, and an innocent bystander spun around there.
Very impressive stuff nonetheless from Brandon Lemke to see all that coming going into the hairpin and get underneath Cruz, because as soon as Turney got alongside Brent released the brake pedal and washed him out wide, and it allowed Brandon Lemke to get underneath both of them. So Brandon Lemke wins out in KA Senior Pre-Final B, and now we look to Pre-Final A, the odd number drivers that were 1st and 3rd in those heat races. Aiden Levy on the inside, the top qualifier, the best out of the heats. He comes in the safest into the pre-final, the superheat, really. At 50% weight, all Aiden Levy's got to do now, really, is at least finish second. Brandon Lemke puts the pressure on with a pre-final win of his own. It makes it where Levy will need to be probably top 2 after the points to still hold that pole position for the main. And he knows that as they line the grid. Braden Eves on the outside, and that red and white MPG Motorsports Kart Republic will join him to complete row number 1. And then we go backwards to find another one of our pro shifter contingents that is here this weekend in the KA Senior class. AJ Myers, the Magic Man, the number 28, rolls off third. And he is definitely looking to go forward here, wanting to be the best of the 2 shifter guys joining in. Formal gets a P2. AJ, the bar is set, second or better, to at least be even on the shifter drivers competing in KA100 Senior. Brent Cruz, P3, if you want to count him as that, but he's a jack of all trades, ace of all of them, if you will. To the outside of AJ Myers, starting 4th here in this one, it's that blue and yellow Alonzo kart, the Trinity Karting Group supported father-son duo of Adam and Jim Brickley. Adam will lead it off from the outside of the second row, and who was a star privateer in 2022. He's back again, turning a lot of heads here in 2023, and he looks strong and sporty here in KA Senior with a 4th place in his group. It'll be 7th overall after the heat rankings were totaled. Back from row number 2, you go to row number 3. It's that blue and yellow BJR MDRLN card of Paulie Massimino. What a weekend he's had. So fast in the rain last night, just ran out of laps there to maybe get himself into the money. He knows there's still a lot on the line for him here with the KA Senior and X30 Pro Senior races to go. There's a lot of cleanup still to come, so we'll take a commercial break from this one, and we watch as Paulie rolls off 5th behind the likes of Myers, Brickley, Eves, and Levy when we come back. Welcome back to Trackhouse Motorplex as the KA100 Seniors pre-final A gets set to get underway with Levy, Eves, Myers, Brickley, and Massimino. Your top 5 as we covered right before the break. To the outside of Paulie Massimino, what a great weekend it's been for the brother duo of Dalton and Roman Haynes. Dalton Haynes rolling off P6. Talked to him a little bit last night after that X30 shootout in the rain. He said, I feel good in my KA. I feel even better in my X30 Pro car. So we'll see if the number 303 Kart Republic can work his way up from that 6th place starting spot on the 3rd row. Behind him, one driver who's had to work his way up and knows exactly what he needs to do to pass around this racetrack. Last night's runner-up in that X30 shootout, already $2,000 richer, is Speed Concepts Racing's Austin Garrison. A terrible qualifying that, because he had to go in the slow group for the session, put him way outside the top 20. He had to drive forward in every single heat race. Talked to him and his father last night after the X30 shootout, asking where they thought they would start. He said, well, I think we should be at least in the upper half, in the top 20, and indeed they are. They roll 7th here in the number 329, and again, P7 means that he was 13th overall in the heat race rankings. If he can pull off a 5th or a 4th in this pre-final, it could potentially jump him up into the top 10, and we know that you can fight from the top 10 in the main. Also, again, for everyone, we mentioned that the top 45 is the cut line. Chase Jones looks like he'll also be safe, as he was 8th after 8th in the group, 16th in heat points. But further back, the money spot is right around that 22nd, 23rd position. The drivers in this heat race that come in on the bubble, the likes of Aiden Hatcher, Emery Lida, Axel Cabrera, and on the outside looking in for today's main event, Caden Bell, Jordan Hernandez, Christian Blevins Jr., Valen Venkatesh, and Christopher Giram. All on the outside looking in after heats. They need a phenomenal pre-final and some bad luck for others to get into the top 45 in points. As the leaders come down the start-finish line, Levy, Eves have them at a crawl. We wait for the start box. Levy punches off. We go green down to turn 1, and a good jump for Aiden Levy on the inside lane as Myers will follow up to second.
Yeah, good start for Aiden Levy. He timed it perfectly. Myers slots into second place there. One of the first times we've seen Levy and Myers maybe knock it together at the start there, but Levy looks back, has to defend from Myers, who puts the bumper to the back of him there, and it's a huge train to go. Oh, Chase Jones!
Jones is into the wall. Chase Jones noses the wall outside of turn number 4. He scrambles to get the number 54 back under fire. Again, this is disaster for the MPG Motorsports Kart Republic, because not only is this going to hurt his starting spot in the main, he might miss the main here if he has a terrible pre-final. Out of turn number 8 we go. It is a good start for Spencer Conrad on that black and yellow Gillard. The Team GWR driver gets around a few more, and there's a look at the MPG Kart Republic of Chase Jones. He tries to get back under power. Aiden Levy will lead us down the front stretch. 1 complete, 16 to go as they head for turn 1.
Wow, what a chaotic start here for the Group A KA Senior guys. It's Levy, Myers, Eves, and Massimino. Austin Garrison, like you said, he needs about a top 5 here to really put himself maybe in the top 10 for the feature race later this afternoon. He's already found himself in 5th. Oh, late lunge for Eves. He's going to push Myers wide. Massimino goes through as well. So Myers from 2nd to 4th now. And here comes Spencer Conrad in P6.
Yeah, Spencer Conrad closes up to Austin Garrison here, who now is the next one to challenge A.J. Myers. Myers feeling the pressure. He'll block low. Eves to the lead as well. Braden Eves goes to the point on Aiden Levy. Paulie Massimino is 3rd. Myers again a little narrow in the 9 to try and hold this spot as Brickley comes under fire from Conrad getting around him just a moment ago. Up the hill, Levy wants the lead back. Eves on the outside gets run a little wide as Massimino tries to follow. Now he has to block from Garrison. Look at A.J. Myers getting sent through on Garrison by Adam Brickley. Here comes everyone else up the hill as Garrison falls in line behind Spencer Conrad.
Wow, I mean, how easy it is to lose a bunch of spots here in the KA Senior class. Out front, it's still Levy, Eves, Massimino, but Austin Garrison getting bullied around. I thought he was actually safe there, but Myers wanted the spot back, and here comes the Fernando Alonso kart. Adam Brickley under the TKG karting group guys there. Adam Brickley up in a P5, Levy and Eves out front, though.
They'll head through the hairpin as Brickley goes by A.J. Myers. They're side by side with Race Liberante and Austin Garrison there through turn number 9. We'll get set for more action here as Garrison gets around Liberante. Here comes Austin Jers as well. And behind on that Tesoro Raceworks CRG is John Burke. Here comes Jers again, trying Liberante. Liberante won't let him go. Jers will get alongside him on the outside down the front straightaway. Let's go side by side here at the end of this one as they continue to race on the racetrack with 3 complete now. Eves, leader over Massimino and Levy, with Caleb Viesca down on pit lane after Brent Cruz's wild final lap. We've caught up with him.
Thank you, Xander. Obviously, Brent finishing the day off P3 here in KA100 Senior. Obviously, going back to yesterday, wasn't the day that you would have wanted as you weren't able to start the shootout. Obviously, you said that your chain popped off. How do you mentally reset coming into today? Obviously, you have KA100 and X30 Senior.
Yeah, I think we have a super stout KA100. I know we're going to have a fast kart for the race as well. So it's a new day. I mean, you can't hold it too long, right? So we'll just get our K tuned up a little bit more, and we should have a good piece for the final.
Sounds good. And obviously, race plan like we've been seeing with some of the other guys missing the final, just a little bit racing a little bit too hard. What's your plan going into the X30 final here, as you've already made the main for that KA100?
Yeah, I mean, I think your only hope really is to just race as hard as you can, right? And you take the risk versus reward. You got to get to the front if you want to have any shot. Just got to be smart about it.
Sounds good. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Back to you, Xander.
Thank you, Caleb. Here, Brent Cruz would love to hear what he thought about that final lap move by Joe Turney and Brandon Lemke, but he's at least safe with 3rd. Braden Eves got just the shaft there, and that time he got shuffled back to 5th. Austin Garrison now pulls to the rear bumper as Myers and Levy went through. Brickley to 2nd. Massimino now the leader here as we come around. We're still super early in this pre-final. Be racing this hard, Alex, but the 6 drivers out front at least are getting a little help while they race harder behind them. It's a breakaway led by the BJR MDRLN kart of Paulie Massimino, who has had nothing but bad luck with some of the fastest drives we've seen all weekend as Garrison goes to 5th.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, super early to be racing this hard. I mean, you'd think there's money on the line, or there's a feature race at stake here with 12 to go still. But Paulie Massimino has found himself in a P1. Brickley all over the curbing in the turn 4 there, able to hold on a P2 there. I thought he was going to get to the side of Massimino, but what a run, should I say, for Adam Brickley. I mean, he's put himself in a great position here to have a good starting spot for the final. Levy now under fire from Myers. Brickley to the inside. He's through Massimino. Adam Brickley to P1, and that's going to bring the field close together.
Here they come to turn number 9. Adam Brickley, Paulie Massimino, Aiden Levy, AJ Myers in 4th, Austin Garrison 5th, Braden Eves 6th as they climb the hill and head down the front straightaway. Brickley comes to see 11 laps to go in the lead for the first time all weekend. Adam Brickley takes us down to turn number 1. And no changes in that lead pack for now. An update on where Chase Jones is here, the driver that got taken out on the opening lap. He's still going, but he's still a good ways back from the back of the field. He was faster than him by about a second to half second last time. As up front, Garrison gets through on Myers for 4th.
Yeah, good move for Austin Garrison there. I mean, speaking of Chase Jones, we actually saw him on the same screen as your leaders. Chase Jones is way back, 15 seconds behind the next closest guy, so his race is essentially done here. Massimino to the inside. He wants to lead back, and he's got it. The BJR, Lando Norris, Carter, Paulie Massimino back to the point here. Brickley P2, Levy P3. The more these guys race, though, here comes the likes of Austin Jers and Race Liberante. They're coming back.
Yeah, they are closing back into frame. The two of them, Austin Jers and Race Liberante, charging forward as we go to 1. Brickley back to the lead. Levy will follow. Massimino trying to hang on. He does to 2nd. In fact, he goes back on Brickley. What a move by Paulie Massimino to take back the lead. They'll scramble behind him. Brickley gets shuffled to the outside lane. Garrison trying to get through. Myers will try to follow, but he can't. Austin Garrison to 3rd, Levy 2nd, and what a phenomenal over-under from Paulie Massimino.
Yeah, just a really experienced move there. I mean, for a guy who drives on this racetrack more than most here is Myers to the inside of Brickley. He's going to make that move 6, so move the Magic Kart USA driver up to P4, but Eves with a superhuman crossover on 2 drivers, not going to make it stick. Now he's going to be left out to dry here. Brickley's going to go through. Jers going to go through. Liberante might even go through, so Eves now going to fall to the back of this pack.
Yeah, nothing Braden Eves could do there. It was a nice attempt, but he just got hung out to dry. Halfway in and halfway home. He's still got a lot of time to get himself back up the order. Let's go down here to trackside as well. Side by side for an interview with Caleb Viesca and Joe Turney, our winner from that heat race. With 9 laps to go, we continue to lead the way with Paulie Massimino as they've spread out behind, and the pack starts to kind of come back together through turn number 4. It is Massimino, Levy, 3 car lengths to Garrison, 4 back to Myers as the field heads into the infield. And let's go, and we'll check here in a moment down to pit lane, because Joe Turney, what a move there. He's also intently watching the rest of his field continue to battle in this other half of the KA Senior pre-final as they come on out here this time. Let's see. We'll send it on over to you, Caleb.
Thank you, Xander. I'm standing here with the man himself, Joe Turney. Joe, talk to me about that last lap. It seemed like you were trying to get a 3-for-1 move there around the outside. Oh, just walk me through a little bit through that last lap.
I mean, I managed to get Danny just before the last lap, so I was sat 3rd. I could have just sat there, but I thought I may as well try. I knew Brent was going to brake early when he defended, so I tried it on the outside, tried to use a runoff, but he just made it round next to me, and then it was close to paying off, but in the end, I only lost 1 spot from it, so I don't know. It was close, but not that time.
Sounds good. Well, I know you got to get to X30, so best of luck.
Thank you.
Back to you, Xander.
There you hear from Joe Turney again. That was a wild one in KA Senior's pre-final B. This one looks even crazier. Austin Jers and AJ Myers now trade spots as Jers got around him, and the Austin Jers Racing team driver is now into the top 6 as Adam Brickley's next in line up the road. 5th for Jers, 4th for Brickley, down to 1. Look who has joined the party. Welcome Emery Lida to the lead group there in 9th. It's been an abysmal weekend, but from 22nd on the grid, Emery Lida is now into 9th here, and tracking down the leaders as Braden Eves runs up the road in front of him.
Yeah, Emery Lida, one of the drivers you mentioned that was on the outside looking in, going to this race, starting in 22nd place there, like you said, as Garrison has now found himself in a P2, and Brickley all over the bumper of Paulie Massimino entering turn 6 here, down towards one of the best passing opportunities. Massimino has to go defensive over Brickley. Brickley with a crossover move incoming, not going to make it happen here, but Austin Jers, what a superhuman effort it's been for him to claw his way through the field, up 5 spots, up in a P5. AJ Myers now holding off Race Liberante behind him.
Still can't say enough about Austin Garrison. It just seems like the guy knows where to put himself every single race here in KA Senior. He's now right where he wants to be, second with a little gap out back with 6 laps to go as Aiden Levy continues to hold the field at bay for now. More drivers are trying to join. How about Noah Baker up a handful of spots as Spencer Conrad tries to follow him. That's all the way back in 10th and 11th. We're nearly 12 drivers deep, and when we get that many in a pack, Alex, we know it's only a ticking time bomb. At some point, someone's going to make a mistake, and we could lose a few.
Yeah, I mean, like we saw in that first heat, it all kicked off with about a lap and a half to go, and then one of the innocent bystanders was Weston Workman as he had moved to the inside. Braden Eves, he's going to push Liberante all into the dirt. Emery Lida thought he was going to peek a nose there, but it is a 9-car breakaway out front, but he has brought Noah Baker and Spencer Conrad. It's about to be 11-car train here. Out front, it's still Levy, your leader, Austin Garrison, who without that first heat race, he's been really the strongest driver, in my opinion, in the KA Senior class as he goes through to the lead in turn 1.
What a slick move by Austin Garrison. No way Aiden Levy saw that one coming. That was about as textbook as you can do it. Down the backstretch, though, Levy wants it back. He'll take it into turn number 4. He runs Garrison a little wide. Massimino not able to get through, but Brickley lets him back in line. And Austin Jers is there. We're stacked tighter than we've been in a while. It is nose to tail. There is no room for error as they head down to turn number 8. Who ducks out of line? Brickley wants third. Here comes Austin Jers. Massimino to the wayside on the outside lane.
Yeah, Massimino found a lot of grip, though, as Myers down to the inside of Jers. Jers going to lose 1, 2, 3 spots maybe as Liberante's going to try to go through with his teammate. Liberante now to the inside. He's going to maybe make it through on the curbing. Slide jump, spun around. He and Emery Lida get together there on the exit of turn 11. They're going to lose a handful of spots.
Lida was just trying to follow Liberante. Liberante locked the brakes up to not clean out his teammate in Braden Eves. And 5 more spots go by as Conrad leads that second group. Meanwhile, up the road, 4 laps to go. There was our moment that split the pack apart. It's now down to 4. Aiden Levy, Austin Garrison, Adam Brickley in that blue and yellow Alonso kart, and Paulie Massimino in the blue and yellow BJR MDR LN kart. Down the chute into turn 8. Brickley wants another one. He'll take second away from Austin Garrison.
Wow, Adam Brickley just looking so impressive right now. He's definitely turning a lot of heads this weekend on board the Fernando Alonso go-kart. He's back into P2, but Xander, like you said, I mean, that was the moment that separated the pack, but with all this racing, it may become a big train again. There it is. AJ Myers has brought Braden Eves back into the fray. It is a 6-kart train with 3 laps to go.
Down to turn number 1, Adam Brickley is going to get a big run on Aiden Levy, 2 North Carolina natives, or North Carolina locals. Aiden Levy, a relocated Mooresville, North Carolina home track driver from Atlanta, Georgia, leads the way out of turn 4. He's had the best points day all weekend. He's trying to keep it and clinch that pole spot for the main. How hard do you want to fight? Meanwhile, Adam Brickley trying to get to the front row. A pre-final win might do it. He's on the bumper. Turn 8, not going to go just yet as they stay single file out of the hairpin. A little bit of pushing and shoving as Brickley runs wide off the bumper of Austin Garrison.
Yeah, I mean, the draft helped Brickley a little bit there, but he looks so strong right now in these closing stages of the race. I mean, last time by 10th faster than Levy. This time by, I mean, he started the lap about 3 kart lengths behind the Kart public driver of Aiden Levy, but he's on the bumper now as the 2 sticks in the air. 2 to go. Levy has to go middle of the racetrack. That's going to stack him up even more. Up the hill towards 2 and 3. Does anybody make a move into 3? No, but Levy goes defensive. Crossover incoming, but Brickley runs to the back of him. That's going to halt his progress. Levy might be safe here entering 4, Xander.
Yeah, and look around the outside. Paulie Massimino all the way to the marbles. Tried to go high. Here comes Garrison. He'll get to second. Massimino side by side with AJ Myers. Someone's got to give. He'll have to give way. And Eves will go through. Jers will go through as well as Massimino drops a tire. Levy to the low side. Garrison high. He'll hold on to second now as they go up the hill to turn number 9. And the defending continues.
Wow, that was crazy, Xander, as the wind starting to pick up once again. Massimino went for the move on the outside, doesn't make it work. He then falls back to the back of this train, so his heat race essentially over. He's out of the draft now. White flag in the air. Levy has to go defensive. He does. Garrison follows. Brickley follows. Where's P4? There's Myers. Jers to the inside of Eves. He's through. All the way to the bottom goes Levy and Garrison. Here comes Brickley with a super run downhill.
Adam Brickley with a big run. Garrison tries the high side move again. Levy's going to run him wide. Austin Garrison almost there, but he runs out of racetrack. Here comes Myers. He'll force his way to 3rd. Brickley back to 4th. Final time to the infield. Here we go. Aiden Levy trying to block for his life as Austin Garrison sends it around the outside. He's clear, but he's too wide. It's still side by side. Myers is going to get now alongside Levy. Garrison on the inside. They're stacked up. Myers is wide. They're 3 wide. Someone's got to give room. Aiden Levy has blocked for his life this entire race, and he will hold on as who wrecks in the final turn. It is going to go Aiden Levy, and everybody scrambles behind. Garrison, Brickley, Myers, Eves. My goodness, it does not get crazier than that, Alex.
I mean, I don't know who finished where right now. All I know is Levy just won that race. Austin Juris holds on to P6. Axel Cabrera out of nowhere, up 11 spots on the P7. He might have just made himself safe for the final. Noah Baker, a good run for him. Massimino, one of the biggest losers in this race, down in P9. James Overbeck, a good run for him. Rivera on 11th. Where did Lida fall back to? P13. He might be safe for the final. Where's Race Liberante?
He crashed
P27.
out. With 4 laps to go, Liberante crashes out. An update on Chase Jones of where he ended. He only gets up to 25th by the end. So 2 of the 3 MPG drivers out. Dalton Haynes also got collected in a mess. He's 23rd. That's roughly the bubble spot. I think Dalton will be more than safe, though, with a good heat, but he'll be just barely in the main. For Liberante and Jones, they'll be a little bit rougher. Should still transfer with a 25th and 26th, but still having a good starting spot in the upper half after the heat races are weighted. But this was wild. This was crazy. We're only halfway through the order for pre-finals. If you like what you see, folks, these KA seniors will be back on track for the main events live exclusively to KC Premium members for $9.99 a month. Make sure to hit that join button down below if you're not one already. The main event is going to be even more wild with $3,000 on the line to win here in KA Senior. There's more to come. IAME Mini Swift is on deck next when we return from Trackhouse Motorplex.
Welcome back to the IAME Grand Nationals. My name is Caleb Vieska. Alongside me here in the booth is the man himself, Alexander Searle. We are here live from Trackhouse Motorplex. Alex, it's been a great weekend of racing, and we saw it there in the KA100 pre-final. A whole lot of racing and a whole lot of passing as we have the full track layout back here today.
Oh, man, the full layout. I mean, I love all the alternate layouts, but I miss the full layout here. I mean, it provides such incredible racing with the 2 long straightaways going to turn 1 and down towards turn 4. Creates great passing opportunities, and we've seen it here in every race thus far. But the KA Senior, man, they have been incredible. Both classes, the Groups B and Group A, their Group A putting together probably the best race we saw all weekend long so far with, I mean, maybe 4 wide we saw on the straightaway there. A bunch of drivers making up a ton of ground here. I mean, the biggest thing for those KA Senior guys is, you know, who makes the main, right? So that's why we're seeing such aggression. But now we have Mini Swift on the racetrack. They've put together a great show for us thus far this weekend. But into the pre-final now, this, like we were talking about earlier, this is kind of like a super heat, right? So really it's a combination of where you finish on average with your 3 heats plus the pre-final here. So it's going to be, I believe, Cameron Marsha and Lucas Palacio on your front row, 2 of the fastest drivers in the Mini Swift class all year long, but really all weekend long so far. It's going to be Woon and Ferguson as well, Bowen Green, Marco Samet, and then Travis Pettit falling a little bit further back the order here to start this pre-final.
Yeah, of course, and as we've seen all year long, Lucas Palacio has been right up at the front, Cameron Marsha as well, and definitely interesting to see by Travis Pettit starting this super heat, as you were saying here, Alex, in 8th place here at the moment, but Troy Ferguson up there as well. Ashton Woon up there as well, who was pretty quick yesterday in the energy card here, and definitely gonna be seeing him challenge for the lead here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the biggest thing is going to be with Pettit starting, you know, not as close to Palacio as he would have liked. Can Travis Pettit catch up to his TKG Car Republic teammate of Lucas Palacio. So on your front row, like I said, it is Cameron Marsha on pole position, leading them to the green with Lucas Palacio. Ashton Woon and Troy Ferguson on the Bennick there on row 2. Then it's Bowen Green on the comp cart. He put together just a solid showing in the 3 heat races, just consistently solid top 5 finishes. So he's going to start 5th. It's going to be Marco Samet on his outside in P6. That is Junior Lewis. A great showing for him. You know, the Florida native there, he's in P7. Travis Pettit on his outside in row 4. Then it is Benja Fernandez and Royce Vega in row 5. Felipe Benito and Thomas Chrisman, row 6. Luke Gilio, Valentino Santian, row 7. Carter Barkas and Marco Romero, after a not so good heat 3 for him, he's rolling off in row 8 as the field gets set to go green. They're in the tram lines. Oh, a bit of contact there further back, but here we go. Are we getting the green flag this time by? They're slow and steady. Green flag in the air. Oh, they're going crazy here entering turn 1. Cameron Marshall to P1. Ashton Woon, the master that starts all weekend long. He's up to P2. Palacio down a spot. Bowen Green up a spot into P4. Troy Ferguson, the biggest loser, up in the 5th place there. And Marco Samet now 6th. Junior Lewis 7th. Where is Travis Pettit down at P9?
Yeah, what a move there early on by Lucas Palacio to get himself right back up in a P2. And I believe Ashton Woon is still in the lead of this race here at the moment, as he has had a couple of good starts, and now he shows it once again here in the lead of this race early on, and Lucas Palacio hot on his tail.
Yeah, Marsha, all the drivers down to the bottom of the racetrack. Marsha still your leader, Palacio second. It is a huge train out front here, Caleb.
Yeah, a huge train it is indeed. And Lucas Palacio down the inside on Ashton Woon. Cannot get it done here at the moment. And side by side, Lucas Palacio and Ashton Woon. Ashton Woon stays in front for now. And Lucas Palacio down the inside now. They go 3 wide. Lucas Palacio to the lead of this race here early on.
Yeah, what a move for Palacio, but a crossover incoming. Marsha back to the point here. Cameron Marsha leads Palacio, leads Troy Ferguson, who throws it on the inside of Woon. Woon going to fall back a handful of spots from second down to outside the top 5 here, Caleb.
Yeah, outside the top 5, and I believe the man himself, Xander Clements, has caught up with some of our other drivers. Down to you, Xander.
Thanks, Caleb. This one was wild on the racetrack while it's side by side, but that KA Senior pre-final, Austin, that's got to be one of the top 5 craziest races you've been a part of.
Yeah, no, that race was super crazy. You know, we had a whole line of, about 15 cars all stacked up. Once 3 to 4 laps to go, everybody started blocking and stacked up the whole entire field. And it's hard to have all 15 cars go on the bottom of the racetrack and stop at the same exact time. It's just not going to really work out. So there was carnage, but not enough for nobody really crashed out. But I went to the outside a couple times to try to make the move for the win, and eventually we came up second. So.
Still good. I mean, after what was a rough qualifying, you've been on the back foot having to come out of that slow group all weekend and fighting forward and fighting forward and fighting forward. Not only learning how to carve that pack up, but did you take away anything from the moves you attempted in that pre-final? You tried the outside in turn 4, tried the outside in turn 8. Do you know a lot? Do you feel like you've got a good idea of what will work and what won't in the main?
Yeah, honestly, it kind of seems like whoever is in the lead to pace the whole entire field. Whoever's up in front and is blocking the correct way, how Levy did, that kind of seems like the way that needs the race to go and win. So for sure, if whoever's in the lead in the last couple of laps, whoever's in first kind of seems like they got a pretty good shot at it, better than second, seems like. But but if you are in second, who knows if it gets all stacked up again and try to go to the outside, it might pan out, it might not, but we'll see what happens.
Well, your Speed Concepts Racing Red Speed looks fast in this one. We looked at X30 in a couple of sessions. Are you confident for that one too?
Yeah, we're pretty confident in the X30. We were super quick this morning warm-up. I think we got a really good pace for the pre-final, and we should have been better for the final.
All right, Austin Garrison, P2 in the KA Senior pre-final. Should put him pretty safe in the top 10 starting spots for the main and safely in the top 45. And like he mentioned, a heat race win already. He rolls off really good for X30. Good luck, Austin.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Xander. While we were away going side by side, the field has been flipped around completely. It is a 2-car breakaway with Palacio and Troy Ferguson. They pulled away from the likes of Travis Pettit, who's found himself in a P3, Woon P4. Now is Marco Samet going defensive from Cameron Marsha, who was your leader before went side by side. But in 2 laps, how much can change here as Marsha down to the inside, couldn't make it stick. That's Bowen Green. He's lost a couple of spots too. He's out to the top 5 from where he started. Then there's Junior Lewis behind him. He's had a pretty solid showing. And then behind him, a few drivers like Thomas Chrisman and Benja Fernandez. But out front, it is Ferguson, Palacio, and then Travis Pettit was 2/10 faster last time by.
Travis Pettit, I close my eyes and I open them, and Travis Pettit always finds himself up into the top 3. And I think Xander Clements has a little more for us down on pit side.
We'll have one more interview after this where we speak with A.J. Myers. But first, let's talk to you, Adam Brickley. We were talking a moment ago here, not the ideal place to start that pre-final because you were 17th after the heats. You were somewhere in the high 20s, I believe 29th after qualifying from, again, same as Austin Garrison, just marching forward. And from your perspective, we've had a lot of crazy club races here at Trackhouse Motorplex. Is that still as crazy or crazier than what you've been a part of?
Yeah, it was crazy, honestly. What we need to do in the final is just find a partner and make it so we're not 17. Because if you mess up, you're going back.
Moving on from that here again, I asked Austin Garrison of a couple of plays he tried in that pre-final to learn of what might work, what not. You know, this track changes a lot. You know it as a local. It changes so much day to day, throughout the day. But from trying the moves that you learned, did you take away a little bit? Or is it just, man, I just got to find someone?
Well, I mean, you can get it done. I live here. I know where to pass. But it's just... I think we have to make it 3 to 4 because the crossover, if you got 10 people behind you, you can't go wide because they're all going to go low.
Well, nonetheless here, it's a good father-son duo for yourself and your dad, Jim. Has that still been cool to take on all the factory efforts, all the best in the country and the best in the world coming here to Trackhouse for you and your father out of the garage?
Yeah, it's really fun. I know it's just me and my dad and my friend Jim Mayer and Jimmy Hill and everybody coming to help us. But, I mean, we're still up there, so... we're good.
Well, it's nice with you guys being a privateer. I appreciate repping the merch a little bit for us, but Adam Brickley survived that pre-final. He'll roll off pretty good, we think, for the main. Congrats, Adam.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Thank you, Xander. And surprise, surprise, look who's found each other. P1, P2 for the TKG Kart Public Drivers of Travis Pettit, who has the lead over his teammate Lucas Palacio. They already have broken away from the likes of Marco Samet, who's now in a P3 on the BJ Orlando Norris go-kart. He's up into third. Troy Ferguson now under fire from Cameron Marsha, battling for fourth, and a huge train of go-karts behind him. But Marco Samet has closed the gap even more to Lucas Palacio. We're going to have a huge train here very soon if Palacio Pettit can't pull away. Inside goes Marsha. He can't go through. Bowen Green gives him the bumper into turn 8, saying, you better go or I'm going to go around you here. Back behind him, that's Woon going at it, I believe, with Junior Lewis for P6.
Yeah, and I feel like it's deja vu here, Alex. It's once again Travis Pettit and Lucas Palacio for the lead. These two have found each other all weekend long. And, man, these two have definitely delivered a show all weekend. And here they're going at it again. I think there's a move down the inside on the BJRLN cart. And, yes, there was. That's Troy Ferguson on Marco Samet. Move Troy Ferguson up to P3, and behind him, Ashton Woon as well.
Yeah, Cameron Marsha slots in a P4 there. What an opportunistic move from him. Late lunge there from Jetson Michelke. He's going to throw it in on a couple of drivers there. Junior Lewis now, he's going to fall back. Ashton Woon falls back 2 spots now. And as I say that, we're going to have Xander Clements down there with A.J. Myers. What you got, Xander?
You, Alex, here. Let's talk to AJ. You and I were chatting. You were like, man, was it really 13 deep? It was. That was one of the biggest packs we've ever seen not explode, go 13 all the way to the finish. From your point of view, again, you said the pace wasn't perfect, but you seem confident in throwing that magic card anywhere to try and get up spots.
Yeah, early on, it seemed like I wasn't the quickest out there, so if I got past, I just tried to, keep with that pack, keep with the leaders. They're going to battle, just stay there for the end, and sure enough, they did that. My pace got better, and once it was the last 3 laps, people were blocking. It's just every man for themselves, and you got to make the most of it.
Granted, I talked with Adam Brickley. I know you've run some club races. That's why you're a little comfortable here in the KA at this place, because you've done a lot of R&D. You live around here. You do a lot of training. But those curbs in turns 5 and 6, we only touched those in heavy, heavy rain. Was there any pucker factor having to stick it on the outside to jump those things?
I had to think about it for a second, but at that point, there was no backing out, and it worked out.
Well, it was a good run for you, AJ. Obviously, still a good starting spot, hopefully, for the main, but we know we're going to double that lead back. If there's 25 deep here, how nervous are you to go up with all these guys?
Oh, man, it's anyone's race. We'll see what happens. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be a blast here. AJ Myers is having a good time. He rolls off what we think should be pretty good, but there's a lot of guys that look pretty good in KA Senior. Good run, AJ.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Thank you, Xander. Yeah, good solid run for AJ Myers. Whoa, side-to-side contact. Ashton Wood puts the side pod to the quarter panel there of Junior Lewis. Good save for Junior Lewis there. That's going to halt their progress. They've lost a bunch of ground now to Jetson Michelke and the likes of Marco Samet, Bowen Green, and others. Out front, though, Pettit and Palacio still your leaders, the 2 teammates, but they weren't the quickest. Last time by, Cameron Marsha put 3/10 on the field there. He's pushing the Bennett driver of Troy Ferguson back to the front. It's Bowen Green back to where he started in the top 5. He fell back outside the top 8, but a good comeback drive for him. He's found himself in the 5th place with 7.5 to go, and behind him, Marco Samet trying to hold on to the back of this train, which has become a 6-kart tandem out front.
Yeah, of course, and down the back straight, Troy Ferguson looking over his shoulder to see who's back there, and Cameron Marsha giving Troy Ferguson the finger to work forward to push their way up as they are trying to catch up to the two Trinity Karting Group drivers of Travis Pettit and Lucas Palacio. They know that Travis Pettit and Lucas Palacio have been working together all weekend long, and if they do not work together, oh, maybe I'm wrong. Lucas Palacio down the inside on Travis Pettit. Move Lucas Palacio up to P1, and the Trinity Karting Group drivers swap positions, Alex.
Yeah, Palacio, he had to make that move. He looked back and saw that Ferguson was faster at this stage in the race, with 6.5 to go. Palacio now leads his teammate Pettit, who's under fire now from the Bennick of Troy Ferguson, who's up a spot already this race, looking to make it 1, maybe 2 more through turns 5 and 6. Now going downhill towards turn 7. The heavy brake zone into turn 8 hairpin. Do we see a peek on the inside? Palacio defending from his teammate. Pettit gives them the wave. Whoa, a deep lunge from Troy Ferguson, who's going to make it stick, but not enough. And now Cameron Marsha, a crossover move for the ages. He goes from 4th to 2nd, Ferguson back into 3rd. Bowen Green loses a few spots. He's back to 6th. And Travis Pettit now from 1st to 4th in a lap. Palacio defends again. Marsha, crossover incoming. They're going to go side by side across the start-finish line. Palacio with 6 laps to go to the bottom of the racetrack. He's defending so early.
He's defending early indeed, but he has to. Cameron Marsha was the fastest, has been the fastest man on track for a couple of laps now, and Travis Pettit still in 4th place. As Lucas Palacio going to decide to defend again, Travis Pettit's going to follow. Troy Ferguson as well. It's a 6-car battle here, and the more that they battle, the more the guys further on back are starting to catch up to the leaders here, Alex.
Yeah, here comes the likes of Thomas Crispin, Royce Vega, Marco Romero up 7 spots. Woon, Junior Lewis, Felipe Benito. It is a huge pack of go-karts, and Palacio again defends in the hairpin. Ferguson around the outside, Pettit to the inside. Pettit makes up a spot, so move Travis Pettit back into P3. Ferguson loses a spot. There goes Marco Samet. There's Bowen Green and the likes of Thomas Crispin there in P7, who's already up 5 spots, looking to make it more. I cannot count the amount of go-karts in this train right now, but Palacio again defensive. He's forced his hand now. He went defensive with 6 to go. Now with 5 to go, Palacio to the bottom of the racetrack. Everybody follows him through. Do we see a move? Yes, we do. Marco Romero down to P7.
It's an 11-cart train here, Alex. I feel like I'm watching the KA100 Senior race all over again as Lucas Palacio going to decide to go mid-track, and Cameron Marsha right behind him. Travis Pettit up in a P3. Troy Ferguson right behind him, and that BJR driver still trying to chase them down as 11 carts are in the fight here, Alex.
Yeah, Ashton Woon back in the mix. He's found himself in a PA after a not-so-good start to his pre-final, but he's back in the 8th. Lucas Palacio goes to the bottom. Marsha follows through. Travis Pettit goes through. There goes Marco Samet to the inside. He can't make it stick. Samet still in 5th. Bowen Green, they're 3 wide behind him through turn 8 and 9. Marco Romero, what a move. What a crossover, though. Thomas Crispin on the Bennick. He's found himself in the P6 now. He leads that second train of go-karts behind him. So now it's Crispin, and I believe it's Vega, then Romero. So it's a Bennick 7, 8, and 9. Palacio to the bottom of the racetrack. 4 to go here. It's Cameron Marsha, Troy Ferguson, Marco Samet is down to P4 from P6. Then it's Pettit, Bowen Green, and then it's Thomas Crispin, and then I believe it is Ashton Woon behind him now.
Yeah, and Ashton Woon's still back there, and Lucas Palacio still defending here in this race, and Cameron Marsha still behind him. Troy Ferguson there as well. Travis Pettit's going to try to make up some spots here as he is currently sitting in P5. But he's definitely going to want to get right back up to the rear end of his teammate here early on, and Troy Ferguson trying to find a move there on Cameron Marsha. Cannot get it done as of yet. They are still going to shuffle around. Lucas Palacio still taking mid-track line, and there you go, one of the Bennick drivers making the move on the comp cart, and Travis Pettit still in P5 here at the moment.
Wow, what a run for Royce Vega there on the Bennick. He's up 3 spots down to P6. Royce Vega looking to go after Travis Pettit now after a really solid start for him in the Bennick. It is a 12-cart train out front. Palacio to the bottom again with 3 to go. Marshall looks low, can't make it stick. He gives him the bumper saying, please go, stop defending. It's Marco Samet in 4th. Pettit holding on to Royce Vega, who has Bowen Green behind him. Then it's a few other go-karts with the likes of Felipe Benito, Marco Romero, Thomas Crispin. A huge train of go-karts. They're side by side to turn 4.
But look at that, Alex. Ashton Woon all the way down to 12th place, down 9 spots from where he started. Definitely not the pre-final that he would have wanted, as this is going to be part of their qualifying in a sense, as we see Lucas Palacio still in the lead of this race, Travis Pettit P5, and Lucas Palacio still defending here with 3 laps to go, and there's more shuffling further on back. If I'm not mistaken here, I think that's Thomas Crispin and Benia Fernandez going at it there in the 2 Bennicks.
Yeah, Romero there on the outside of Bowen Green. What a late move there on the outside of turn 8. You don't see that very often. Late on the brakes for Marco Romero. He's back in the mix. He's behind his teammate Royce Vega now. Getting the 2 sticks in the air. 2 laps to go. Palacio to the bottom like we've seen for the last 5 laps. They all follow him through. It's Palacio, Marcia, Ferguson, Samet, Travis Pettit. Then it's Royce Vega leading his teammate Marco Romero. Then it's Bowen Green and Thomas Chrisman. Palacio to the bottom of the racetrack, down towards turn 4. Does anybody peek outside? No, they don't. It's still Palacio holding on to this lead over Cameron Marcia, who's been the quickest driver all weekend long in this Mini Swift class. Palacio still holding on to this lead somehow.
Lucas Palacio still in the lead of this race, but for how long? Obviously, the draft has come into play here, obviously with the full layout, and Lucas Palacio still deciding to defend Travis Pettit, not being able to make up spots here. He's still in 5th. He's been in 5th for quite a while, as Samet is still in front of him, and Ferguson trying to size up a move on Marcia, cannot get it done. Marcia is going to decide to follow Palacio, learn a little bit from Palacio, who has been almost perfect all weekend long. We have seen him obviously lose out here a little bit, but Lucas Palacio is still in the lead of this race. Marcia follows Ferguson, Samet, and Travis Pettit, as Lucas Palacio is going to take the low line, and Samet and Ferguson side by side. Samet down the inside, and Travis Pettit trying to go through as well. Ferguson's going to lose the spot to Pettit, and he does, I believe. Travis Pettit up in a P4.
Yeah, what a move from Travis Pettit, but down the hill here. It is a 2-car breakaway out front now with Palacio and Cameron Marcia. Can Marco Samet have any say in this, as we see Thomas Crispin making a move on Royce Vega? So move Crispin up a few spots there. Vega's down a couple spots. There's Marco Romero. He's been a beneficiary of all of this mess. He's up into the top 5. The Bennett driver of Marco Romero up in the 5th. Palacio to the bottom. Marcia, crossover incoming here, exiting turn 8. Beautifully done from Cameron Marcia. He makes it stick. The 114 to Cameron Marcia. He's been buying his time the last 7 laps. He has perfectly planned it. And to the final couple corners, does Palacio have anything to say for this? I don't think so. Cameron Marcia, side by side for the final corner. But it's going to be Cameron Marcia, your winner in the pre-final for Mini Swift. Further back, it is going to be Palacio second. That is Marco Samet, Pettit, Marco Romero up 11 spots. Bowen Green down a spot. Ferguson down a couple in 7th there. Thomas Chrisman. What a run for Thomas Chrisman, up a few spots in the 8th. Royce Vega and Benja Fernandez, they're going to have a neutral gain of nothing there. P9, P10, Ashton Woon, one of the biggest losers in this race, down 8 in P11. Junior Lewis, Felipe Benito in 12th, 13th. Carter Barkas and Shane Stern round out your top 15 in a chaotic Mini Swift race there, Caleb.
Yeah, what a race there. A pre-final of the ages here, Alex. Absolute fireworks here in the Mini Swift race. I mean, we saw Lucas Palacio obviously lose out there late to Cameron Marcia, who was sitting there patiently watching Lucas Palacio, trying to see the lines. He saw that Lucas Palacio was defending, went to the outside, and in turn 8, switches it back on him and gets the win and takes it away from Lucas Palacio. When we come back, if I'm not mistaken here, X30 Junior.
Looking for the perfect vacation spot and a family fun weekend where a race breaks out? Look no further than Karting the Coast. Our 10-race schedule is already well underway, with stops at NOLA Motorsports Park in New Orleans and Finish Line Performance Karting in Biloxi, Mississippi, where our podium ceremonies are on the beach. We know how to have a good time and put on a good race, and all that we're missing is you. To find out more, visit kartingthecoast.info.
Here at MPG Motorsports, our main goal is to provide the best pathway into professional motorsports for our entire team, drivers and mechanics alike. We're based out of Whiteland Raceway Park in Indiana. For more information, contact us at chase@mpg-motorsports.com.
Welcome back to the IAME Grand Nationals. My name is Caleb Vieska, and shortly Alexander Searle will be joining me back in the booth. But it has been an absolutely amazing day of racing as we have seen it so far. Up next, we have X30 Junior. It's been all Ernesto Rivera all weekend long, but Stephen Miller has also been up there this weekend. Obviously, in X30, he is going to be in the DAP kart, so he will be trying to challenge the fast Ernesto Rivera as well. A couple of other guys as well there with Ernesto Rivera, Teddy Masella in there as well, and that RPG team. So yeah, definitely gonna be something to watch as Ernesto Rivera has his hands full with Stephen Miller, as we saw Stephen Miller take the win away from Ernesto Rivera late in the KA100 Junior race. It is all to play for here as they are trying to find a better spot to start in once the final rolls on. We get the 1 minute mark, the engines come to life as we finish cleaning up the track. Definitely all to play for here. It's going to be a super close race as Alexander Searle back in the booth here with me. Alex, we have seen a handful of racing all day long. What are you thinking coming into this race? It's obviously been all Ernesto Rivera, but Stephen Miller, super close as we saw it in the KA100 Junior race. Stephen Miller was able to take the win.
I'm expecting chaos here, Caleb.
Yeah.
If anything has been showing me these past couple of heat races, or pre-finals, should I say, it's just been absolutely chaotic. Like we saw in the KA Junior class, right? It was Ernesto Rivera, Stephen Miller going back and forth. Ultimately, Stephen Miller getting the victory here, and more the same as they line up P1 and P2, the two quickest junior drivers that we've seen all year long up to this point. But it's going to be Ernesto Rivera's teammate, Teddy Musella, in P3 there, and then I believe it's going to be Wolney as well. So it's an RPG 1, 3, and 4 in the IAME Junior class, but I expect chaos.
Chaos, obviously. We have seen it before. Ernesto Rivera, I was talking to him a little bit before the race. He's going to start P2 in the K100 Junior race. I think at the moment he's going to start on the pole for X30 Junior, but he was telling me he wants to start on that inside. He wasn't too nervous about the outside, but obviously you definitely want the inside line. Get your row to really push you forward to take the inside line into turn number 1, but obviously the outside could also work out as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it really just depends on how well you can time the start to decide where you want to start on this race. Really, you have no other option though. But the inside is really the place you want to be. But I've seen a few guys starting P2, hold her on the outside, and maybe get the jump at the start here. But let's take you through your starting lineup for the IAME Junior class. It's going to be Ernesto Rivera and Stephen Miller, your front row. Then Musella and Wolney on row 2. McMurray and Enzo Vidmontien on row 3. Two of the quickest junior drivers all weekend long. And then it's Davin Roberts and Wesley Gunler, and then it's going to be Nathan Dupuis, Sarah Bradley, Oliver Weldon, and Kalen Harvick making his IAME Junior debut here. He's had a solid showing so far. Then it's CJ Bowman and Lucas Bruncati, David Ramirez, Diego Mendez-Torres, Chase Gassioli, and Alexander Vanchev, Mateo Pappas as well. That's your IAME Junior grid. It's a strong showing here, a bunch of drivers who are all capable of winning in this class. So far it's been Ernesto Rivera throughout the entirety of the weekend, but Stephen Miller is going to have something to say here as they round the final corner and getting gridded up and ready to go here. Like I'm saying, it's been an RPG, dominated class here this weekend, but it's been the DAP kart of Stephen Miller, who's had a say in a few things here, but right now it's Ernesto Rivera and Miller on your front row. There's the comp kart of Carter McMurray on the inside of row 2 and Jackson Wolney on his outside. Then I believe it is Nathan Dupuis and Enzo Vidmontien. Field set, ready to go in the tram lines, slow and steady through the acceleration zone, and we're green. What a start for Ernesto Rivera and Carter McMurray. McMurray goes to P2, make it P1. Carter McMurray, what a perfectly timed start he got. Miller follows him through, and then I believe that is also, I think that's Nathan Dupuis there looking at the inside of Ernesto Rivera, who's going to shut the door on him.
Yeah, what a move there by McMurray to get in the lead here early on in this race, and Stephen Miller did not have the start that he would have wanted, but I think Ernesto Rivera lost a whole lot of time over the curb, and Ernesto Rivera now finds himself in P3, but I think Oliver Weldon had a good start as well, as he is finding himself up in the top 10 here at the moment, but Ernesto Rivera trying to size up a move on Stephen Miller, who took away the pole from his hands.
Wow, I mean, what an aggressive move from Jackson Wolney as well, but back up front, Miller and Ernesto Rivera back to P1 and P2. Ernesto to the front here. He's going to give him the bumper. And into P1, Ernesto Rivera. That's Alexander Vanchev, who's up on the barrier on top of another go-kart. That is the 714 of Sarah Bradley. So Vanchev and Bradley are out of this pre-final.
Super unlucky definitely something you do not want to see here, as early on they made contact. We hope that driver is okay, but at the moment, Ernesto Rivera, a move on Stephen Miller down the inside on the first lap, puts himself up into the first spot, and Ernesto Rivera leads us away here as they are so aggressive on those curbs, completely hopping them, and there goes Stephen Miller all over the rear end of Ernesto Rivera here early on. Is Stephen Miller going to try to make a move? He does not. He's going to decide to wait and follow Ernesto Rivera, but for how long, Alex?
Yeah, the field is absolutely flipped, though, since they last crossed the line. It's Ernesto Rivera, Miller, McMurray, your top three. Then it's Nathan Dupuis, followed by Enzo Vidmontien. Then it's Davin Roberts. Then it's Jackson Wolney. So a huge flip in the IAME field. And now it's Wolney, who's gotten back around Davin Roberts. So it's Rivera still leading over Miller, your two fastest junior drivers all year long. McMurray, who's making his IAME junior debut this weekend, looking calm and collected out there on the back bumper of Stephen Miller. He's got a decent run down towards turn 4. Nothing to it there, though. It's still Ernesto Rivera holding on. A long race to go, though. 15 and a half laps remaining. I don't expect to see a lot of heavy racing here, but if the previous pre-finals that we've seen thus far have anything to say about it, then we're going to see some side-by-side action all throughout the race.
And would you look at that? Oliver Weldon and Keelan Harvick finding themselves in the top 10. Keelan currently in 10th and Oliver Weldon in 9th. As we see a move here by one of the speed concepts on the inside there of Enzo Vidmontien. Enzo Vidmontien on the rear end here of that speed concepts, and Stephen Miller was the fastest man last time by. It may change here as Stephen Miller still in the lead of this race. Ernesto Rivera down the inside on Stephen Miller. The action picks up, and Xander Clements is trackside here.
Yeah, as they're side-by-side for the lead, we're side-by-side down here with one of the awesome stories of X30 Pro this weekend and Jacob Kolar. Jacob, this racetrack has been one of the toughest ones for you to learn over the years. Coming from a track like Homestead, you're technically home racetrack, even though you're 4 hours away from Key West. But that being said, you go from there where you work the wheel a lot to here, you got to keep the wheel almost completely centered. It seems like you've mastered it here this weekend. What's been the secret of that last jump to go from the teens to be now starting P4 here in this pre-final?
I mean, it's just been a lot of hard work and dedication. I mean, I've been trying my best each race, trying to improve, and then now we found the pace and found everything we needed, so I'm going to try to keep it like that.
And for you, it was a mid-season team change from the PK Sports Boys to the Chad Dawkin Racing crew. Now a couple of weekends in, how comfortable do you feel in that new environment back on the Kart Republic?
I feel great. I mean, I feel like I'm back home. You know, I'm ready to go and win some more.
All right, well, there's, of course, $5,000 on the line if you can get the main event done, but you are up against some of the best drivers in the world. So how confident are you to try and challenge for the big money today?
I mean, I'm hoping I'm really confident. I am, but it's going to be hard and tough, but I'm going to try my best.
All right, Jacob Kolar rolls off P4. The kid from Key West is turning less and less like a kid as he's now getting to become more and more like a seasoned vet here in X30 Pro, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Xander. While we were away, I mean, chaos has erupted here with 13 and a half to go. It's still Ernesto and Stephen Miller, your leader, but they have swapped the lead about 4 times throughout that last lap there. Ernesto still holds on. He's going to have to go defensive a little bit. A black flag warning for one of the drivers in this top 5, but it is Nathan Dupuis who's found himself into the top 3. Ends up in in 4th there. It's a 4-car breakaway out front. Wolney has brought McMurray with him there. It's Davin Roberts. And Gunler, what a late lunge. Up on over the curbing goes Stephen Miller to slice his way through Ernesto Rivera, and he's brought Dupuis with him. So the SCR OTK of Nathan Dupuis up in a P2.
Yeah, Nathan Dupuis, what a move by him to take advantage of that move by Stephen Miller, following him through. And now Enzo Vidmontien down the inside on Ernesto Rivera. Move that Kart Republic up to P3 as he's going to try to chase down the other Kart Republic of Stephen Miller, who at the moment stays in first. But Nathan Dupuis right behind him, chasing him down.
Yeah, what a move there for Enzo Vidmontien, Ernesto Rivera. This is about as far back as we've seen him all weekend in the X30 Junior class. Stephen Miller looks calm and collected out front in that DAP kart there. A new chassis for him this weekend. Rounding turn 3 down towards the turn 4 banked bowl corner. Nathan Dupuis has a run. Do we see a move? Oh, a half move there for Dupuis. Couldn't make it stick. That's going to stack the field up tremendously here. Here comes Enzo Vidmontien onto the Kart Republic. He's bringing Ernesto Rivera, Wolney, McMurray, Davin Roberts, Gundler. There's Keelan Harvick back in the mix. Oliver Weldon inside the top 10 now. Ernesto Rivera back on the inside. Gives a little side pod to Enzo Vidmontien, who goes back to P3 now. And here comes Jackson Wolney with the green gloves, the pink and blue go-kart. The RPG Cosmic of Jackson Wolney has brought the likes of Carter McMurray with him as well.
Carter McMurray up there as well, and as we see Jackson Wolney trying to chase down here at the moment, Enzo Vidmontien and Ernesto Rivera have found themselves on track once again, as last night Ernesto Rivera beat Enzo Vin Montien for the $500 in the Fast 5 shootout here in X30 Junior. At the moment, it's Ernesto Rivera in P3, and right behind him we see Jackson Woney down the inside on Enzo Vin Montien. Move Jackson Woney up to P4 here.
Yeah, what a solid run for Jackson Woney. He's been slicing his way through the field after a not-so-good start for him. Now he has his sights set on his teammate, Ernesto Rivera. Do we see a move? Anybody make a move in a turn 8? No. Vin Montien goes a bit defensive on McMurray. That's going to hold their progress up and move them towards Davin Roberts and Wesley Gundler, who now have Weldon, who's gotten around Keelan Harvick on the RPG. So there goes Oliver Weldon on the Lando Norris go-kart. He went purple last time I had a 49.7. Oh, what a move there for Ernesto Rivera. He's up to P2. Moved Dupuis down to 3rd. And now it's Stephen Miller and Ernesto Rivera once again with 10 to go.
Ernesto Rivera, even though he made a pass, he was the fastest man lap time by. There's 11 laps to go, but we're going to send it down to Xander Clements as he's caught up with more of our X30 Pro drivers. Down to you, Xander.
We're down here with Nick Terlecki, who has been so consistent all weekend here in a driver that you've done the OKN stars, but a very limited amount of X30 starts over the last couple of seasons. Now you're here. You're in the top 5 starting for this pre-final. And we were talking a moment ago, just lacking maybe that last little bit on Friday on this layout. You went new tires and warm up to try and find a little bit and really just take some grip out of the car because it is so hot and so grippy here. Where's your confidence at for this pre-main?
Definitely, going really good. I just know I gotta keep clean out there. I know it's gonna be pretty crazy. Everyone wants to get to the front, of course, but just got to keep my nose clean. And as long as I can stay in line, I think we'll be pretty good for the final for a good starting spot.
And being this close to these guys here at the front, I mean, there's been at points where you've been up as high as maybe almost 3rd or 4th and following that lead train. How crucial has that been, especially in Heat 1, getting to follow those guys a little bit and see not only how they're fast, but how they're kind of driving in a way to take care of rubber, because this is heat cycle number 5 on these MG Yellows.
Yeah, definitely. These tires got a lot, so it'll be really interesting. I feel like it's a little bit better to not be P1 going out there because just in yellow tires, so I can see where other people are maybe struggling, and then I can counter on it right away for that lap. So I think it'll give me an advantage.
All right, well, Nick Terlecki rolls off 5th here. It's been a very smooth, consistent kind of there as a dark horse here weekend, and he's looking to go for the 5,000 big ones later today. Good luck, Nick.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Thank you, Xander. Yeah, it's been a solid showing for Nicholas Terlecki, who's put us together a good couple of heat races here. Looking for more of the same here in the pre-final coming up in a few minutes' time. Back up front, it's still Rivera, your leader, over the DAP car to Stephen Miller. It's been it's a little more spread out now than what we're used to seeing in this IAME Junior class. Rivera has a little bit of breathing room now to Miller, who has even more breathing room to the likes of Dupuis and Wolney, who's up to P4. They've left McMurray a little bit now. McMurray's all on his lonesome, and behind them is Davin Roberts on the RPM OTK, and Vin Montien, who's fallen back a little bit here. Surprised to see that after the pace he's shown all weekend long, but still a solid showing for him. Keelan Harvick has gotten around Gundler and Weldon, so now it is Keelan Harvick up to P8.
Yeah, Keelan Harvick up to P8 here at the moment as Carter McMurray goes fastest last time by. But as there's so much action here on track, we're going to go down trackside once again with Xander Clements as he has caught up with the man himself, Dalton Haynes.
Dalton, we talked about it a lot, and I caught up with you a little bit last night after that X30 shootout in the rain. You said you felt good in the KA car, you feel even better in the X30 car, and trying to learn as much as you can here as the level just continues to get tougher and tougher every year. You were the breakout story in our first event in 2021, but from 2 years ago to now, can you describe how much the level has improved?
Yeah, I mean, the level of driving has improved quite a bit. Everyone sees that Eric Jones puts on a great race for the IAME Grand Nationals. I mean, this race has gotten bigger and bigger each year. Like you said, I'm feeling more confident in X30 Senior. I actually found out in the shootout last night that we put the wrong front driver on, and I was 6 teeth too low. So, yeah, that was the reason I was so slow in the rain. But, yeah, I've always been, I think I averaged it out, and I'm top 3 in pace in all 3 heat races. I qualified 14th, and averaged out, I ended up 6th. So, I mean, I've been the guy that's been passing through in every single heat race, and I even got into a wreck in the 3rd one and still managed my way to get up to 10th from 17th. So I'm feeling really confident. Only worry is just that the guys in 1 and 2 got to save their tires a little bit more because they had that gap that I didn't.
Yeah, that was what I was going to make a point as well. Having to drive through the field, you're having to push a little more than maybe they were in those heat races. So out of 10, where would you rate your rubber compared to them just taking a look?
Taking a look, honestly, I mean, my rubber looks pretty good. I'm pretty confident. tire pressures have always been perfect for me and my brother. We've been working on it really well this weekend, and I'm feeling confident.
Well, you already started the weekend with a little bit of cash on Friday night. I know it would go a long way. How much would it mean to get the $5,000 in the main event win here, your first pro national win?
A lot, especially since KA, the engine just died the last session in the pre-final. Went from 6th to last just because the engine was dead. So it would mean a ton to be able to have a good end the weekend off good in X30.
Well, it would do a lot for your career as well, and you got a lot of guys supporting you on at home. The brother duo of yourself and Roman Haynes are trying to roll forward. P6, good luck here in the pre-final, Dalton.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Thank you, Xander. Yeah, a solid run for Dalton Haynes, a local kid here in Mooresville, North Carolina. So it'll be good to see him, get a solid showing at X30 Senior. Unfortunate for him in the KA Senior class, right? But with this being kind of a super heat, he still will have a decent starting spot for the KA Senior class. Back out front, though, Ernesto Rivera extending his lead even more with Stephen Miller. But last time by, Stephen Miller a 10th faster. He went purple, so this gap could close just a little bit with 3.5 to go. But right now, Ernesto Rivera still your leader, and we're going to have, I believe, Xander Clements there down with Ryan Norberg. What you got, Xander?
All right, Ryan Norberg, I know you weren't the most happy that we went out and took our race carts in the rain last night, but that said, cleaned up, hopefully got a good night's rest, and now you're back today to try and work your way forward after a so-so run in the heats. Where's your head at?
We just got to keep our head clear and stay out front. We had just one bad heat, and that really put us far back. I think if we didn't have that heat, that DNF, we would have been starting in the top 4. So, yeah, we got a kart that can run up front. We just got to get it there and try and stay there.
Well, there's a lot of Norberg Nation members that are cheering you on. To them, can you get it done for the $5,000 here this afternoon?
We always can.
All right, there you go. Ryan Norberg feeling confident. He rolls off here in 7th for the pre-final, boys. Back to you.
There it is. Short and sweet there for Ryan Norberg. He says, of course we can. We always can. Ryan Norberg feeling pretty confident starting in 7th here for the pre-final coming up shortly, but 2.5 to go. And Stephen Miller has closed the gap to a kart and a half over Ernesto Rivera. Ernesto starting to fade. Stephen Miller starting to come into play here. Around the final corner, 2 sticks in the air. 2 laps to go for the DAP kart of Stephen Miller. Does he have anything left in the tank? Ernesto Rivera last time by. Miller goes purple. 2/10 faster than the RPG Cosmic. Climbing the hill towards 2 and 3. Stephen Miller's got an incredible run down the hill. Ernesto might have to defend to the banked pole corner. It's not going to be enough. Ernesto looks over his shoulder. Not enough here. A half defense there for Ernesto. Stephen Miller all over the bumper now, entering turn 5 and 6, Caleb.
Yeah, only a kart length separates Stephen Miller and Ernesto Rivera. As Ernesto Rivera, final time by down the infield. Ernesto Rivera not going to defend here. Does a little bit of half defense, but not enough. Stephen Miller still on the tail end of Ernesto Rivera. We saw it before. Stephen Miller was able to get the move done on the last corner in the last lap of the KA100 Junior race, and Ernesto Rivera still in the lead of this race, coming down the last corner here. They're going to get 1 lap to go. The white flag is out. Ernesto Rivera still in the lead of this race, but Stephen Miller up the rear bumper of Ernesto Rivera. The kid from Mexico is going to try to hold off the hungry American. Stephen Miller on the rear end of Ernesto Rivera. Seems like it wasn't the best of corners there for Alex, but Stephen Miller going to try his hardest to try to get another last corner move done on Ernesto Rivera here in this race.
Yeah, Miller got the curb there in turn 1. It pushed him wide into 2 and got over the curb in 3. So Miller, a bit of a mistake there, uncharacteristic from the DAP kart driver. He might be all she wrote here in this pre-final event, but not a very good turn 8 for Ernesto Rivera. Miller's back to within a kart length through 8 and 9. Does he have enough here downhill here towards the final corner? Ernesto Rivera looks over his shoulder. It's not going to be enough for Stephen Miller. Rounding the final corner, Ernesto Rivera started on pole. He wins the pre-final X30 Junior. Stephen Miller with a solid P2 there. Then Jackson Walney P3. McMurray 4th. Nathan Dupuis up 4 in the 5th. Davin Roberts a solid showing in 6th. Oliver Weldon up 4 into the top 7. Vid Montien, a decent pre-final for him in the P8. Wesley Gunner down a spot in 9th. And Keelan Harvick on his IAME Junior debut. Rounding out your top 10 here, Caleb.
Yeah, what a drive by Keelan Harvick. Obviously started outside of the top 10, but now he's going to put himself up in the top 10, starting on the 5th row here of this race. And Keelan Harvick with a lot to do here in the next race. Oliver Weldon, what a drive by him. 4 spots up, started outside of the top 10, up into 7th place, if I'm looking correctly here. Yeah, Oliver Weldon up in a 7th place, but the big surprise here, Enzo Vinmontien, not the race that he would have wanted. We've seen him fight for the lead. He was one of the ones that won the Fast 5 shootout early on Friday, but obviously did not have the pace here in this race. Seems like he faded off a little bit in that Kart Republic, but Ernesto Rivera starting on the pole here in X30 Junior as he is starting on the outside row in KA100. Same thing with Stephen Miller, starting on the outside, first row, and Stephen Miller on the pole for KA100.
Yeah, pretty solid showing for those drivers there. It's still Ernesto Rivera and Miller, though, the two fastest juniors all year long. When we come back, though, we're going to get ready to go set for the X30 Pro Seniors. Don't go anywhere.
Looking for the perfect vacation spot and a family fun weekend where a race breaks out? Look no further than Karting the Coast. Our 10-race schedule is already well underway, with stops at NOLA Motorsports Park in New Orleans and Finish Line Performance Karting in Biloxi, Mississippi, where our podium ceremonies are on the beach. We know how to have a good time and put on a good race, and all that we're missing is you. To find out more, visit kartingthecoast.info.
Here at MPG Motorsports, our main goal is to provide the best pathway into professional motorsports for our entire team, drivers and mechanics alike. We're based out of Whiteland Raceway Park in Indiana. For more information, contact us at chase@mpg-motorsports.com.
Hey, put us on.
Welcome back to Trackhouse Motorplex for the IAME USA Grand National Championship. We are set for the final pre-final, the final race of our free coverage here this morning. In the booth with me here is Caleb Viesca.
Yes,
we just watched a good race there in X30 Junior. There is more to come, obviously, with the X30 Pros as the engines come to life behind us. We saw Joe Turney walk him, but in talking to him on the grid right before he fired the engine up, he said with the wind picking up today, no one's getting away in KA, and I don't think anyone's going to get away in X30. Now, of course, he's saying that as the guy that starts pole and is probably going to get away. But that being said, he says we expect a pack race with the way the winds have picked up.
Yeah, of course. We've seen it a couple of times this year. Joe Turney has gone away early in a couple of races. Let's take it back to Speed Sports at USPK as he got away and absolutely walked the dog with that race. And now we saw him last night as well, 1 second ahead of pretty much everybody else. So we may see more of the same here. But as he's saying, it is going to be a lot harder.
Well, he at least has the easiest place to start it from. He rolls off from the pole here in X30 Pro. Alongside him, the red speed for Speed Concepts Racing, Austin Garrison, who was the only other driver to get around Joe Turney in the heat races and pull away. He was able to win heat number 3 in the tricky damp conditions, while a number of drivers, including the likes of Brent Cruz and Brandon Carr, opted for wet tires. The benefit for that for those two, even though they start deep in the grid, is that they'll have one less heat cycle. And talking with both of them, they felt while it was the bad call, obviously, and frustrating for them to go straight to the rear in terms of heat points, however, they do feel really good with the extra set of rubber, or one less session. That is going to give them a huge advantage on this 17 or 18 lap pre-final here in X30 Pro. So as the field warms up down the front straightaway, Joe Turney will slowly bring them around with Austin Garrison behind. And on backwards we go to Paulie Massimino on the BJR MDRLN Kart in third. Jacob Kolar on the Chad Duckin Racing Kart Republic will start again in that fourth spot. Fifth will be Nicholas Terlecki in that Hotes DD Tony Kart, who again, just looking for that last little bit. And to the outside of him, the driver who's made the most headway in all 3 heat races combined is Dalton Haynes in the number 17. Climbing up nearly 6 or 7 spots every session. He gets a much easier position to move forward here from 6th on the grid. Ryan Norberg starts 7th after the one bad heat. Said, yeah, we can always get the job done. He's still looking for Pro National win number 1 in 2023, while the front row has nearly the entire heap of them all. Austin Garrison looking for win number 3. Joe Turney looking for win number, who knows? It's the most on the season. He's got already $5K in the bank, looking for 5 more this afternoon. Into the box. X30 Pro for 18 laps is not going to get it that time. A little bit too spread apart there that time as they go up to turn number 3.
Yeah, it seems like coming down the main straight, they were a little bit too spread out, as Joe Turner now going to try to put a little bit more life into his tires. As here, I think they're going to lose a lap here. Xander, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, it looks like they may have started the lap counter. We'll see if they revert it back. For now, it still shows 18 to go. At the moment, we are on schedule. Again, for those of you just joining us for this X30 Pro pre-final, this is the last race of our free coverage of the IAME USA Grand National Championship. The main events will be live exclusively for KC Premium members at $9.99 a month if you hit that join button on our channel. If you aren't able to subscribe or hit the join button next to the subscribe button, that's okay. The main events will be on tape delay, airing on Wednesday live on YouTube. So if you're not able to make it work to watch them live, you can watch the replay of it Wednesday morning when they go back on. But if you want to watch the coverage live after the lunch break, make sure to become a KC Premium member. And again, we do have a short break after this pre-final before we go back green. During the end of the post-race interviews, we'll also get to hear from Ryan Norberg as he selects the recipient of the free one day of the Norberg Karting Academy announcement. So we'll talk for sure with the 348 after this race. Whoever else we talk with, well, we're going to figure it out depending on the storylines that emerge from this pre-final. The last few rows are still struggling to get caught up, but I think we'll be good by the time we get to the box. Joe Turney, Austin Garrison, and the rest of the X30 Pros are green down to turn number 1. Paulie Massimino with a good start will slot to 2nd. Then it's Garrison, Terlecki into 4th. And as they climb the hill, everyone's still green, still side by side, further back down the back straightaway to turn 4. Massimino on the low side. Look at Terlecki on the high side. He'll get all the way up alongside for 3rd, and Austin Garrison has to give way. Nicholas Terlecki with a phenomenal start from 5th.
Yeah, what a move by Nicholas Terlecki early on in this race, but Paulie Massimino up in a P1. The start that Dalton Haynes would have not wanted as he moved back all the way down, I think outside of the top 10 here at the moment. And Ryan Norberg working his way up as a little bit of issues there for Alessandro Di Tullio, and Dalton Haynes makes way past him.
Yeah, and Tyler McIntyre with a good start as well in that Motorsport Alonso kart. The top 5 starting to break away with Kolar in 5th and Norberg in 6th. Paulie Massimino leads lap number 1 with a nice move on Joe Turney up the hill and through the opening lap. So it's Massimino over Turney, Terlecki, Garrison as they go to turn number 3.
Yeah, turn 3, and we're going down to the bull corner. We've seen a lot of moves done, and yes, Joe Turney, thought about it, could not get the move done, and Terlecki as well, getting a little bit out of shape there behind Joe Turney, as Joe Turney thought about making a move on Paulie Massimino, but could not get it done. Paulie Massimino still in the lead of this race, but for how long, Xander?
Yeah, I think Terlecki was also fooled by Turney, as yourself, as a deep send from Joe takes the lead back in turn 8. Massimino back to 2nd. Terlecki thought Turney was going to go, and it tripped him up, and he's been recovering this entire lap. Meanwhile, it's now 6 in the party. Jacob Kolar is here, so is Norberg. Austin Garrison staying in line, but Norberg wants 5th. The senior sophomore holds off Mr. 7-time with a nice move around the outside in turn 11. Turney leads here at the end of lap number 2.
Yeah, what a defense by Jacob Kolar, but Ryan Norberg still trying to make a move down the inside. Mr. 7-time down the inside on the youngster, and Joe Turney now in the lead of this race here. Paulie Massimino behind him, and a little bit of movement there by Nick Terlecki trying to get right back past Paulie Massimino, but cannot get it done.
Yeah, he went to the high side again. Nick Terlecki is feeling out that outside groove in turn number 4, probably for those last lap maneuvers that we've seen so much in KA Senior. Massimino can feel the pressure, and now he gets the boot from Terlecki in the hairpin. And that's going to give Joe Turney the biggest lead he's seen all day. That might let the leader inch away a little bit. We'll see how good of a run Paulie gets out of turn 9. It's good. And I think Austin Garrison, he's tired of waiting. Setting him up, looking low. Here he comes. Austin Garrison through for third. Terlecki back to fourth. Norberg trying to follow, not close enough into turn number 1.
Yeah, obviously seems like the draft is pretty big here, as well as Ryan Norberg was maybe trying to work his way past Nick Terlecki, but Nick Terlecki stuck behind the speed concepts of Austin Garrison and really pulled away there from Ryan Norberg, as now Jacob Kolar down the inside on Ryan Norberg, cannot get it done as they make contact. Ryan Norberg on the outside, now the inside, and Jacob Kolar ahead of Ryan Norberg.
How about that from the kid from Key West, Jacob Kolar, taking no prisoners, not backing down to Ryan Norberg, and he sends him up the hill. Big dust cloud coming out of turn 6. That'll be dirty when the leaders get back around to the racetrack next time by, and it'll be a packed up field as Massimino's already reeled in Joe Turney. Meanwhile, who is the fastest? It's the kid in 7th. Last night's Fanvo winner, Caleb Gaffera, has joined the lead pack here as the rookie is all the way up into the back bumper of Ryan Norberg.
There goes Paulie Massimino down the inside on Joe Turney. Paulie Massimino, the lead of this race, and Xander, it looks like those BJR carts have a lot of speed, as Caleb Gaffera was one of the fastest men on track, and now Paulie Massimino ahead of the Kart Republic of Joe Turney.
Ryan Norberg still closing in behind Jacob Kolar, who runs a little wide out of turn number 4. And as the pack spreads through turn 6 and in the infield, Paulie Massimino on the number 3 8 BJR MDR kart leads the 2 drivers who have won the heat races. Can Paulie Massimino finally get the carts to go his way this weekend? He still has not won a regular main event in X30 Pro competition, as the veteran is trying to get it done on home turf in front of his friends and family here in North Carolina. He'll lead them across the line as Norberg goes back around Kolar in turn number 11.
Norberg already passed Kolar, going to be trying to catch right back up to Nick Terlecki, as Nick Terlecki trying to close down the gap to Austin Garrison, and Austin Garrison sizing up a move on the British. Joe Turney is going to have to look over his shoulder here. Austin Garrison may try to go for a move. He does not, chooses to wait, and Paulie Massimino still in the lead of this race. Obviously, Paulie Massimino has had a handful of laps around this track. This is his hometown, Xander.
Yeah, he's got a lot of laps here. He's won a lot of races here. He's looking for that first, again, X30 Pro main event win in a year where he has found himself back at home with the BJR MDR crew as Terlecki goes for third on Garrison. Paulie Massimino is back to form. Garrison hand in the air back to Norberg. Not sure, I don't know if he expected or was frustrated by Terlecki going by, but it's cost them a lot of time. I think he might try to go back on him. He will. Turn 11, Garrison back to third.
Yeah, I don't think Austin Garrison was too happy about that move by Nick Terlecki, and now Nick Terlecki going to fall into the clutches of Mr. 7-time Ryan Norberg on the rear end of Nick Terlecki, and now Ryan Norberg may look for a move to try and get past Nick Terlecki. Ryan Norberg has been super quick all race long, and he wants to go. Not going to be right now.
Some more movers and shakers. How about the pink and chrome International Motorsport Kart Republic trying to catch on to the end of this train? ADT is up to 8th and was fast last time by. You can see him coming into view. How about at the Miami and Alessandro DiTullio trying to catch the leaders as there's a battle into the hairpin. Look at Caleb Gaffera. 2-for-1 move on Terlecki and Kolar. He'll go a little wide. They bang tires. He's still there. Contact between the 2 young guns. Gaffera, a rude awakening here in the senior field as now DiTullio is going to get by, and Caleb Gaffera goes from 6th back to 8th. And now he tries to go back on DiTullio, and he will hold on to 7th.
What a couple of corners there by Alessandro DiTullio and Caleb Gaffera as they are still going at it here down to turn number 1. But at the moment, Paulie Massimino still in the lead of this race. Austin Garrison all over the rear bumper here of Joe Turney. These 3 are going to stay in line here, but for how long, Xander?
How long can Joe Turney and Austin Garrison wait here? The 2 of them were pushing each other a little bit in the heats, but you knew they were trying to conserve rubber as well. This is the last session on these tires. How easy do you go in the first half to save a little bit of juice for the last half, and then it's kind of all out. You don't use them again. We go to brand new MG yellows for the main. For Paulie Massimino right now, being in the lead, he's setting the pace at the moment as they exit turn number 9, and they'll climb the hill with Turney. Still happy to ride behind and in the wake of the 308. This time by, it'll be 8 complete, 10 to go. Turney looks back and sees a rear bumper full of the black and white red speed of Austin Garrison.
And guess who's coming back? Mr. 7-time Ryan Norberg is going to catch this group. The more that they continue to, well, they're not fighting at the moment, but when they do begin a fight, Ryan Norberg is going to be right there with them.
Yeah, through the bowl this time here. Massimino, Turney, Garrison. The gap back to Norberg last time by was 0.7 of a second, nearly a second from the lead position. But Norberg a 48.53 to Massimino's 48.58 as they go into the infield hairpin. You can see Norberg's got a gap back to Jacob Kolar as well. Terlecki has now been caught also by Dalton Haynes for that 6th position as they battle further back down the order. 9 to go at the line. We're halfway in and halfway home to this X30 Pro pre-final. Paulie Massimino leads the way at the cross flag marker.
Halfway, 10 laps to go here as Austin Garrison down the inside on Joe Turney. And now Austin Garrison is going to try to chase down Paulie Massimino. You see the gap open up a little bit, but not that much. Austin Garrison now going to try to catch up to Paulie Massimino with 10 laps to go.
Yeah, we'll see. Only lost about a car length there on that exchange, so not too bad for Paulie Massimino to Austin Garrison, and Garrison already pulling a little bit of a gap away from Joe Turney. Ryan Norberg still back there in the 4th spot again. Good lap that time out of Norberg, even to the leaders, but he needs them to fight to get there. He stays about 9/10 away for now to a 2nd. Kolar the same, Terlecki the same. The entire top 6 were identical in laps last time by, except for the man in 2nd. Austin Garrison is on the bumper of Paulie Massimino. Here comes the 392 to the lead in turn number 1. Austin Garrison commands the field.
What a move by Austin Garrison down the inside on Paulie Massimino. It seems like that Speed Concepts Racing OTK has a lot of speed there, and Paulie Massimino lost it out there to Austin Garrison as he is super confident on the gas, Xander.
Yeah, Garrison now will show the way. Massimino did not have to fend off a charge from Turney in 4. He's a little conservative in 6, but still gets enough of an exit to hold on. Paulie looks pretty good in the infield. Garrison looks phenomenal in the high-speed stuff, and he runs it wide out of 8 to pull away. That Speed Lab Racing Engine, Speed Concepts Racing Red Speed is phenomenal here in the closing stages of the pre-final. Ryan Norberg hoping for more shuffling to get into the mix. Jacob Kolar trying to get back there as well in 4th and 5th with 7 laps to go. Austin Garrison leads us down to turn number 1.
7 laps to go, and I can't fail to mention Ryan Norberg closing down that gap to Joe Turney. Jacob Kolar was the fastest man last time by with a 48.36. Jacob Kolar may begin to catch up on Ryan Norberg here, but Ryan Norberg still chasing down the Brit of Joe Turney.
Yeah, Turney's just been riding in 3rd. I don't know if he's waiting or if he doesn't have the pace here in this pre-final, because you would think he'd start to make some moves now, but with 6.5 to go, he's not close enough. He sent it pretty deep on the brakes there in turn 8, gained a little bit on Massimino. Norberg still charging. Now, at this point, with just 6 laps left on these tires, you're going to give it everything you've got and then some. 110%. Austin Garrison trying to build a gap. The rest of the pack trying to hunt him down. 6 laps remain for Austin Garrison. All of them running their fastest lap of the session that time by. 48.3s all the way through. Paulie Massimino, a dead tie to Austin Garrison on the time charts at the stripe.
And it seems like their tires are not falling off here, Xander, as they go faster and faster every lap. Austin Garrison still in the lead here. Paulie Massimino on a fast charge as well. Paulie Massimino and Austin Garrison ran the exact same lap time last time by, and now you see Joe Turney all over the rear bumper of Paulie Massimino. Joe Turney down the inside on Paulie Massimino, and Ryan Norberg now. Paulie Massimino is going to fall under fire to Ryan Norberg here.
Yeah, watch this out of turn number 9. Norberg is not close enough in 11. Paulie knows that. He'll take the normal line. Let's see if the 308 can reset, rebound, and charge back to Turney, because Turney's move might have just given Austin Garrison the gap he needed. Down through 1. Garrison's lead continues at 4 car lengths up the hill. Massimino trying to charge back to Turney through turn number 3.
Turn number 3 we go. Now onto the bull corner as we see Austin Garrison and Joe Turney there as well. Paulie Massimino, Ryan Norberg, and Jacob Kolar still right there in drafting range to Ryan Norberg. And it's pretty much all to play for here. Whenever they start fighting, it's going to be a 5-kart shootout to the finish.
A mention of Brent Cruz. Well, after a couple of bad heats, he's up to 8th with fresh tires. Brandon Carr was moving forward as well. So Brent Cruz up into the top 10. Next up, it'll be fast Frankie Mossman in 7th. That's a couple of seconds back from these leaders who are setting some blistering times. 4 laps to go for Austin Garrison. The lead continues at 4 car lengths down to turn number 1. All 5 drivers into frame. Massimino trying to mount a counterattack. Big run up the hill towards Turney as they head down the back straightaway.
And Paulie Massimino was the fastest kart on track last time by. Now he's going to try to chase down Joe Turney, and Ryan Norberg coming into the background here. But Joe Turney falling off a little bit from Austin Garrison. That Speed Concepts OTK seems like it has a handful of pace under its steering wheel, Xander.
Now the good news again, if they finish as they are, I believe the tiebreak, it'd go down to a tiebreaker, and I'm not sure where it would go in the factor of Turney versus Garrison for the front row, but Paulie would get to start 3rd again. versus the outside lane that typically falls to third or fourth on the start. So if you're Paulie, how hard do you fight with Turney? Do you want to try and get up to second, or do you want to push him and let him mess with Austin Garrison? Maybe they both go backwards, and you can get the pre-final win. They're all coming together here as the final couple laps are underway. Turney has found some extra speed with 3 laps to go. He's a car length back. Big run down the back straightaway, but Massimino will retake second into turn number 4.
What a move by Massimino. I think Joe Turney's coming back down the outside. He does. And Joe Turney back up into P2. And Ryan Norberg now coming back, trying to catch right back up to Paulie Massimino here.
That move there was impressive. Turney normally not able anyone to do a crossover out of turn 4, but that shows the lack of grip everyone's on. The tires are down to the cords at this point. Turney, look how much more narrow he is through 9. He gets such a better run. He's going to have to really dig deep now to get back to Garrison before it's over. 2 to go at the line. Austin Garrison's lead. 2 car lengths back to Joe Turney. The 2 drivers that have gone head-to-head all weekend long. It only makes sense for them to go head-to-head here at the end of the pre-final as Norberg is close to Massimino. Can he make a move down the back straightaway? Big run for the number 348. Not enough into the bowl.
Not enough into the bowl, but I can't fail to mention, Xander, Joe Turney tried to move on the outside in turn 8 in the KA100 pre-final, and we see it again, sticking it on the outside on Paulie Massimino, and he has all the grip. It seems like when it comes to the outside, Joe Turney is always there, but here on your screen is Austin Garrison, Joe Turney, Paulie Massimino, Ryan Norberg, and just right there at the tail end of this train, Jacob Kolar coming right back in a frame.
Yeah, Kolar's close. Still closing up there is Nick Terlecki in 6th, Cruz 7th, Justin Ataconis has cracked the top 10. He's to 8th. Dalton Haynes is 9th. Mossman back to 10th. White flag, 1 to go. Austin Garrison still your leader as they climb the hill out of turn 1 and go up to turn number 3. The gap is about 3 car lengths back to Turney. Garrison set another fast lap last time by. Massimino is close again. I don't know if anyone's going to be close enough to challenge the race leader. Turney already went a little narrow into 4, fending off the charge from Paulie, and he might do the same here in the infield. Let's see. Through turn 6, he's not close enough to Garrison. He's safe from Massimino. This should just about do it. Austin Garrison on the black and white, red speed for Speed Concepts Racing will lead him into turn number 9 as he chases national win number 3. What has been his best season in a number of years. Speed Concepts Racing is going to round turn 11, and Austin Garrison will win the X30 Pro pre-final here on Sunday.
What a drive by Austin Garrison to get past Joe Turney and really work his way up the field. And Austin Garrison has been right there with Joe Turney all weekend. I was talking to Joe before the race, and Joe was telling me that Austin was right there with him. He wasn't too sure, and like he said, it was going to be a battle all the way to the end, and it was a battle all the way to the end.
Well, back to the rest of the order. It went down to Terlecki back in 6th behind Kolar. Fell back a little ways at the end of it all, a little bit off the pace of where they were running. Brent Cruz with a phenomenal drive from the back of the grid to 7th. Here with some really good rubber. That'll put him decent for the main. Justin Ataconis picks up a couple. He's 8th after 11th in the heat, so that should put Ataconis into the top 10. Dalton Haynes ends up 9th, falls back a couple. Mossman falls back 5. Frankie Mossman back to 10th there in the black and orange number 1. Up 5 in the Tesoro Raceworks CRG. Caleb Gaffera up 3. ADT back down 4 to 12th. Braden Eves picked up 9 to get to 13th. Hayden Jones up a good bit. And Max Taylor with a really good run and the fastest lap of the race ends P15. The couple of DNFs in that one, Aiden Ingrata, Wes Duchak, and Ben Cooper all with unfortunate runs. Brandon Carr couldn't make too much headway forward. He ends up down in 18th. But Austin Garrison, your pre-final winner, will speak to the X30 Pros after this and find out the winner, the recipient of the Norberg Karting Academy full scholarship for a full day of coaching with Mr. 7-Time, who just comes in 4th.
Looking for the perfect vacation spot and a family fun weekend where a race breaks out? Look no further than Karting the Coast. Our 10-race schedule is already well underway, with stops at NOLA Motorsports Park in New Orleans and Finish Line Performance Karting in Biloxi, Mississippi, where our podium ceremonies are on the beach. We know how to have a good time and put on a good race, and all that we're missing is you. To find out more, visit kartingthecoast.info.
Here at MPG Motorsports, our main goal is to provide the best pathway into professional motorsports for our entire team, drivers and mechanics alike. We're based out of Whiteland Raceway Park in Indiana. For more information, contact us at chase@mpg-motorsports.com.
Welcome back to the IAME Grand Nationals. My name is Caleb Vieska, and Xander Clements has caught up with some of our X30 Pro drivers during the break here. What do you got, Xander?
Well, we're down here with Joe Turney after that one, and again, it's been a trying pre-final. It looked like just, inching and trying to get there, and then you were making some headway. Paulie got back around you. What can you take away from it? That was probably the best study session I feel like you probably could have had after leading a lot of laps this weekend. You were trailing other guys to see your strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, I think so. Now we got a good follow on Paulie and Austin, so we can take a lot from that. I'll make sure to watch the live stream back and see where we can be better. So a bit of work to do for the final.
After the big dowsing we got last night, how has the track been here today? Are we kind of back up to the grip we saw on Friday? Is it still a little bit different? Where are we?
Yeah, I think so. The track seems pretty quick. I think when we put 4 new tires on for the main as well, it's going to be tough. It's going to change the setup a bit, and we need to think about that because it's going to be a long final, and I don't think anyone's really getting away today in this wind.
Well, with everyone being in a pack race here, this may be one of the last times we get to talk to you before your main events. Should you be the one that the viewers pick to win? Because a lot of them may be rooting for you. Is there a reason to root for you?
I think so. We've been top 2 all week, top 3. So hopefully we can do that again. Just be on the top set for the final.
All right. Good luck here, Joe. P2.
Thanks.
All right. We go from Joe Turney back to Paulie Massimino over here. Paulie, it seems like it's been a decent day. Unfortunately, there's some bad luck at the end as the cards kind of shuffled out in that KA heat race. I mean, that was just trying to guess with left lane, right lane, middle lane, 4 wide, and ended up not playing out. But this one, speed looks good. In fact, top speed looked pretty good. How did it look from the driver's seat?
Yeah, Kart felt pretty good. I was a little nervous when I went out. Something I was feeling that I didn't like. Figured that it was going to probably mess me up a little bit. But, no, the Kart felt great. I think, when I was leading, I think I was all right. And then once Garrison finally got around us, started to pick up the speed a little bit. I got back by Joe, and I started to slide, so I lifted off the gas again. He kind of nudged me, so thought I would have had something maybe for Garrison towards the end, but no big deal. Yeah, we'll just go back, figure some more stuff out, and be ready for the final.
If nothing else, then again, we know it's always tough to follow a guy. What was it like kind of running in the wake behind Garrison? With the big headwind, at least, it seemed like it kept you guys decently packed up. But how was your go-kart in dirty air?
Actually, the go-kart in the dirty air was probably the best it's been all week. Yeah, I'm kind of glad that Garrison got in front of me. I learned some things. But yeah, aero wash wasn't too bad that time.
All right, well, Paulie Massimino was still good in that pre-final. A lot of good stuff to take away as he gets set for the main event in both classes with a really good spot on X30 and an OK one in KA to go for the big money in that $5,000 sweep. Good luck, Paulie.
Thank you.
Let's go from Paulie Massimino over here to our pre-final winner, Austin Garrison. We'll bring you on up. Austin, you still look, it's hot. Everyone's sweaty. You look probably about as good as anyone else, but you were having pressure breathing down your neck all the way through. Were you feeling the pressure of those guys and having to push, or how do you feel after those 18 laps?
Yeah, I knew my piece was pretty fast. I caught up to Paulie and Joe relatively quick. I know as soon as my tires came in, I had to go around them. My car was super fast and clean air. So for sure, pushing your own air, it is tough. And Joe was on my butt the whole entire time. So I really couldn't break away. It's going to be tough in the final. I think it's going to be hard for anybody to really break away. But we were just fast enough to stay in front.
Yeah, it seems like it was just a game of inches, no mistakes, allowed. Now this year, you've been racing so much more than last year. How much more comfortable and confident do you feel of being in those positions where you've got to be mistake-free and absolutely perfect for 18 laps, having this extra seat time in 23 versus 22?
Yeah, I'm way more confident now. I go out on the track, I feel a lot more comfortable. I'm going out there, I just feel like I know now. I mean, I was fast earlier, but now I go out there and I'm more confident now. I'm happier in the go-kart now than I once was.
Well, you look about as good as possible here. You're going to have a phenomenal starting spot in both KA and, of course, here in X30 with that pre-final win. This should be picking you for maybe that $5,000 sweep.
Hopefully.
All right, that's Austin Garrison. Smile on his face, and as he deserves it, our pre-final winner. Congrats, Austin. We'll bring on in Ryan Norberg after this one here. And Ryan Norberg in a weekend that's been, with you kind of out of the spotlight a little bit, but you inched right into it there in that pre-final. The kart looked, for the most part, pretty good. How was it from the driver's seat?
It's a lot better. We're definitely getting closer, and yeah, we had a bad qualifying and then a bad first heat, so it just kind of put us back. And then the other layout was just a bit difficult to pass and get a run through. But we're back on the main track, and we got some clear track in front of us, and we were able to run down the leaders. Couldn't do a lot, with them, and I think it's just because of the tire management throughout the heats. We were coming from the back. I was eating the tires up a lot in some of the heat races, and so yeah, I think we're at a little disadvantage towards the end of the race, but definitely got something to come for the final, so yeah, happy about that.
And you come off this one here. Obviously, times were quick, but you got a really good look at Paulie, at Joe, and even a little bit at Austin, just a couple of car lengths down the road. What have you taken away from that? Have you been able to take away a lot, finally being able to run with those guys for an entire heat race?
Well, that's a good point. I mean, a lot of the racing you do is really sizing up your competitors, and so when you do have bad qualifying, you really lose that ability to size them up and see where they're stronger. But yeah, I definitely saw some areas where they're faster than us, and yeah, we're gonna have to definitely assess it and kind of pick apart each driver in the video and see where we should change the kart to take advantage of those spots.
And out of the four of you guys, you are the only one that is X30 only here this weekend. Judging off of how that race was, you get more downtime, you get to watch them from the side, but you're not on the racetrack again until your main event. From your point of view, is that a disadvantage? Is that an advantage? Is it kind of, balancing out?
I think it balances out. I think a lot of it comes down to just the track position and knowing what the track's going to do. The KA is quite a bit before the X30 race, but so they get a little bit of an idea of what the track's going to be like, but we have other drivers in KA, so they can tell us. So I don't think it's a huge disadvantage, but it does help get those nerves out, those pre-race nerves that kind of mess you up.
Well, obviously, at least here, you're now looking at what hopefully will be a top 3, top 4 row starting spot for the main event with a good drive forward. I'm sure you're feeling good and probably, at a happier point than you've been most of this weekend, no?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we've been in the back, so to be going forward and to be starting up front and be able to see the green flag when it drops, it's a great feeling.
All right, Ryan Norberg again, fourth in that one, closing in on the leaders. He'll be one to watch when we get to the main events later. We'll talk to him in a little bit because he's got a drawing and a giveaway for a Norberg Karting Academy recipient scholarship award. That'll be later on when we get that drawing. So we'll see a lot more of him both in front of the camera and on the racetrack. Congrats on the good run, Ryan.
Thank you.
All right, that'll be our end of our free coverage here for pre-finals from Trackhouse Motorplex. Main events will be behind the KC Premium member exclusive subscription, so make sure to hit that join button down below on the live stream to watch the mains live. If not, they'll be on tape delay for free on Wednesday. In the meantime, the break begins for us now, and we'll come back with main events in a little bit.